Hello everybody, this is the Retro Bear welcoming you back to another episode of Desert Island Games, the I suppose best way to describe it is a audio broadcast with YouTubers channels I follow, people I know on YouTube doing same gaming content as myself, and I bring them into the Desert Island format. I talk to them about their gaming history and some of their favourite games. Also as well, some of their not favourite games as we go through the history and how they've got onto YouTube and why they're doing YouTube and the person behind the channel. The concept is, you haven't heard this before, and all previous episodes are in the channel just below. I ask a YouTuber to come on, pick 6 of their favourite games, explain why. I also ask them to pick one game which they may put some time into previously, may not have got along with, may not have got on with, or just simply forgot about, started and moved on to something else. And also, because we don't like it to be too easy, and we do try and make things a little bit more difficult by making them select a game that they absolutely hate. So even if they had their favourite games there, there's still one in there that at some point, being on Desert Island, they are going to have to play. Interspersed with that, we talk to them about the gaming history, how they've got to where they are, consoles they've owned previously, systems they've owned, and more or less where we are. And I'm very pleased to say today that my guest, his name says it all really, because he does everything big. He spends big, he collects big, and his channel is growing, and it's great to see him do that. I picked up on his channel very, very early on when he was under a different name, which I don't want to mention tonight because people will be asking the inevitable question, have we ever watched that channel? It is Big Game Al. Hello, Al.
Hello, Ross. How are you?
I'm all right, my friend. I shall be calling you Al rather than Big Game Al throughout the course of this, so just to make it simple. That is your name after all, so I could be more formal and call you Alan, but I won't do that. Thank you very much indeed for coming on to do this, mate. It's a great honour to have you on.
Well, thank you for asking me.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. It's when I started doing this again, there's obviously a number of people I wanted to get involved, and yourself was that. And of course, this is really fascinating because you're one of the very few people on YouTube I've actually met in real life.
Right, yeah, more than once.
It's twice. Yeah. It's not a huge amount of times, but it's twice, isn't it?
I'm sure it'll be many more.
I hope it will be. I hope it will be, because you get around a bit, don't you? You sort of move around and visit people up and down the country, which is...
well, you live in the perfect area. You've got all the big stores around you. I like to go and visit, so...
we are sport for choice around here. You're absolutely right. I didn't realise until probably a couple of years ago how sport we were. But yeah, we do have quite a bit, which is why people do flock from all parts of the country to see what's going on. And of course, you're one of the very few people who've actually visited the gaming pantry as well.
I have, yes. It's quite amazing.
Small. Small is the word you're looking for.
It's bigger than people think. They just see that and just think you're in a cupboard, but you have got the other side of the room with quite a few games in it. Yeah,
there is that. There is a giant sort of case on the side of the room, but I've shown it before in my videos, but most people don't see that. I can't get the angle right to sit in front, because I thought about sitting in front of it and doing a video differently, but I can't get the camera close enough without it sort of like being right there. So it's one of those right up against my face. Anyway, before we get into the crux of why you're here, you have a YouTube channel, which I've followed for a very, very long time. For those people who haven't followed your channel, and as always, there will be a link to your channel in the description below. Just give us a brief sort of summary of what you do on there, how long you've been doing it, and what got you started.
Well, I'm probably coming up to a couple of years now. Primarily, I do pickups, but the channel was meant to be a lot more than that. Like last year, well, the start of last year, before anything went wrong, I was doing quite a lot of the gaming expos. I've done the Milton Keynes, London Gaming Market, and Doncaster. I've got videos on my channel of walking around the events.
That's right, you have, yeah.
Doing the pickups, what I've got on them, and that's what I planned on doing a lot more of the social aspect. Then we all got shut indoors and locked in. Everything got shut down, and yeah, I haven't been able to get out and do as much as that I wanted. I wanted to do more of the CEX, more of the charity shop stuff. Was what I started on my channel doing, and then it sort of now turned on to pickups, and it moved more towards gameplay, which was something I didn't really want to do on my channel because I don't think a lot. It's like a very cliche thing, and not a lot of people want to watch. Like,
yeah, it is one of those, isn't it? I mean, I've done gameplay on mine, and you're always disappointed by the reaction you get. But as most of us know, the only sort of gameplay videos that do incredibly well are complete playthroughs, or brand new games that have come out which people have got hold of. Otherwise, they aren't really interested.
I think people like my comedy side of things because I'm not really very good at playing games, and you notice that when you watch them. And I used to have a gaming series called Mega Drive Monday, and it was actually getting over 100 views for gameplay, that's pretty amazing. Good. That is brilliant. Yeah. People have told me to bring it back, and I've just been too lazy to do it. But you never know. In the future, I might do. Yeah, other than that, I mainly just do pickups. And the new thing now is we've got the so-called shelf crew, I've been told, on the people's videos, which is obviously the live shelf game where we pick a game to buy and pick a game to play. That's it. So just expand the concept because those people haven't seen it because they might be interested to find out what that is. I know, but I mean, some people might not. It was started on. We do a lot of after party, which is basically StreamYard, not live, just chatting with like 6 of us. And it was actually started by Gernaldinho Plays, which is Rob. And yeah, that's right. Yeah. He just said, "Oh, let's like go on our shelves. You pick what number shelf you want, and then pick across how many 1 to 10, whatever, say, and you count that, and then whatever game you pull out, the other person's got to buy." And we started doing that, but then it was Ginger Hippie Gaming site done the thing about you should all pick a game in your collection to play and do, like you haven't played before, and do a review on it on YouTube. Yeah. And Eddie sort of like said, "Well, let's do the shelf game of that, and we pick a game that we've not played before, like someone else picks it for us." And now every month we decide to meet. Well, it's been over a month now. It's finding time for all of us to get together now. It's being awkward now. Everyone's going back to work, but like, hopefully it's going to be soon. Yeah. And the concept is you pick a game to play, and then you've got a month to do a review on it, and pick a game to buy, and then obviously you've got a month to buy that game. And then we all meet back the next time and talk about the games that we bought and what we played and do it again. It's sort of like a book club, isn't it? It is, yeah. It had a sort of feel to it, yeah. It's really good because you think how many games you got in your collection and how many you've actually played, and are you going to go randomly just pick a game out of your collection and play it? The chances are you're probably going to play one that you really like because you've only got time to play a certain amount. Yeah, I've been down that route because I've tried it with like a random generator. I sort of got one of those off Google. Okay, how many Xbox games have I got? Okay, type that number in, and I'll pull it that way, and then I'll pull something. And I'll go, I don't want to play that. Yeah. Put it back, try it. Until I find something I want to play, which defeats the object of it. So. Yeah. Whereas this one, because you're showing it live on YouTube, you're now forced to play that one. That's why no one plays that game with me, because I know the crap I've got sat behind me and all around me, that they've had to get a Just Dance or a SingStar game or something like that, or Hannah Montana. No, wrong with Hannah Montana. I told people that I picked a Hannah Montana game up in my last pickups video, because it was 50p. Yeah, why would I leave that there? I don't care if it's crap. It's 50p. If I get an hour's play out of that, and I set it on for 50p, I've broken even. That's all I care about. Right then, so I said we'll put a link to Al's channel below if anybody hasn't followed him before. Do pop along and see what it is, because his videos are great. I was watching your latest pickups video last night, and your pronunciations were brilliant as usual. One of the great things to watch. I get told by so many people that's the only reason they come to watch, because I don't like to play games. I was responding to YouTube messages last night, and I was read it on the background of the telly I was listening to, and I could hear you trying to pronounce something. I thought, you got that completely wrong. It's not what it is. It's not what it is at all. But that's what we like you about, because you got your personality, and it's just good fun. And if anybody does sort of respond like that, just taking the meat, pulling your leg sort of thing. So it's all good natured banter, as they say. That's why I don't like the edited videos. I just like the raw talking. Like, this is me. This is what I'm like. If you meet me in person, this is going to be me. If I pick a game up and I can't say it, I'll sit there and try and pronounce it for a minute. And if it still ain't right after that, you can all laugh about it. Don't bother me.
Yeah, we've all said that because it's true. You know, if he's, you know, you are thinking of starting a YouTube channel listening to this, that's our best way to be. Leave all the bloops in and the and the ums, and don't cut everything out, because it just looks like you've sanitized it. Just be yourself, and that's the best advice you can give anybody starting on YouTube. Yeah. I mean, your channel's now completely, the way you did things completely different how you first started, wasn't it? Because you were behind the camera, weren't you?
I was behind the camera for 2 months. I think it was like my first 10 videos, and then I showed my Mega Drive collection. And the first video I was actually in, I was only in it for about 30 seconds, and then I was behind the camera again. But then after that, I started doing my pickups videos on the camera. But that was more to the fact I didn't have a tripod or anything to stand the camera on, like my phone on. So
yeah, well, you don't realise sometimes how much kit you need to do something like this. You can use your phone and it'll be perfectly acceptable, but if you want to expand a little bit, you need to do a bit more to it, and then you sort of realise how much these things cost. I mean, it's you have to spend too much money, but you do have to invest in some decent stuff, so it looks really good. I look at my old videos and the way they were sort of filmed, and I'm bloody embarrassed by them. But I think we all are, really.
I'm still old school. I still film off an iPad, so I've got the
off
computer.
An iPad.
Yeah, I've got the computer. I don't film off of it.
I've never heard anybody film off an iPad. Phones and what sorts, but that's an iPad. I've never known anybody to do that one. You're probably the only person doing it.
I do everything off it. I edit on it. I do my thumbnails on it. Everything's just done on an iPad.
Fantastic. Well, if that works, that's what works, and then that's what it is. So, right. So we'll move on, because the reason people have tuned in, obviously, to find out your gaming life, really, the life of Big Game Al in terms of your gaming and where you've got to. We'll start with a bit of history. And obviously you are younger than myself, so when we sort of went through this earlier, I thought, oh, we're hanging a second, because obviously the last video I did with Lee is a little bit closer to my age group, so some of the systems he started with the ones I grew up with. Although I did have these systems that you mentioned first of all.
Yeah,
I would have got them when I was, you know, sort of mid-teens. So
for me.
Yes, yeah, probably. So what we got first now? So if your first system on your list was?
I started very late. I started with the Mega Drive. I've never played any of these tape-based or floppy disk style consoles. I've never owned one. I'm tempted to get one just to see what they're like, but I keep hearing like they're temperamental and stuff, so never bothered.
It depends what you're going for.
Yeah.
If you get something in good working order and you are able to stomach the mind-numbing pain of waiting for something to load off tape, it's not too bad. But I grew up with that, so for me, it's...
Yeah. You're used to it.
Yeah, I'm used to it. But I also grew up with cartridges. I grew up with the 2600, so I'm used to cartridges as well.
Yeah. Whereas I started probably 92, probably quite late in the Mega Drive.
How old were you at the time when you got that? Sorry.
I would have been 7 or 8.
Okay.
So it's quite late on. Well, early on in like gaming age, like late on in years. But yeah, so I'd never had a console before. I never grew up with like much money or anything, which you look at now with my collection and you're quite shocked by that. But my mum and dad split up when I was very young, and I used to go around with dad's at weekend, and then for Christmas, him and my stepmum bought me my own TV, because back then having your own TV was like something you'd never have.
It was. I never had my own TV.
I had a nice little 14-inch black and white TV.
Oh, right.
That's what they could afford at the time. But that didn't bother me. It was my own TV I could have in my bedroom. And then obviously they bought me the Mega Drive.
Fantastic.
So I had the usual suspects. I had the Sonic 1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. Golden Axe and Ghostbusters. They were my first 5 games I got that Christmas.
Ghostbusters. Now that's an interesting one, because that's a complete. Because obviously at that point there was only one Ghostbusters game that was on the old 8-bit systems, which was the Activision one, and the Mega Drive Ghostbusters is a completely different game altogether.
Well, the Mega Drive one turned it into a 2D platformer rather than your top down on whatever else they had on the NES. But
And it's a much better game as well. Much better game.
It nearly made it into my top 6 list, but I thought I'm going to talk about it in the early stages. I'll talk about it now rather than making it one of my favourite games. But yeah, I put so much time into that game. But like the gaming history is more like playing Sonic 2 with my dad, because like he never really liked consoles, and because I never really see him that much. We ain't really got that much in common. So to get something like that and to actually be able to play with each other and stuff and talk about it,
that's good.
That's what the gaming history is about, isn't it? It's not like I can say I had all these games, but it's like having a memory with it, like knowing you've played 2-player on Sonic with your dad and you've beaten the game.
Yeah, and you know, you remember the other games, but you can get those games back, but you can't get those memories back and that time back.
Yeah. I was gutted I never, because obviously I had all of these in my dad's loft, and then like about 10 years ago, he decided to do a car boot and sold it all.
Oh no!
with all my toys as well. I had all like the what's the action figure thing? Action Man. And all that. Quite a lot of action.
Oh no!
And he decided to do a car boot, and it all went. I didn't even know. But then I weren't really interested in it then. So
that's you know, you'll undoubtedly not be the only person to tell a story like that.
Yeah.
Because at certain points in your life, you do. I moved on from gaming for a few years.
Yeah.
I think probably between sort of like 2002, 2000, about 2004 to 2009. I did very little gaming whatsoever, and I fell back into it.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty much the same as me, but we'll get onto that a bit later on. So. But yeah, the Mega Drive I really liked. Like I say, Ghostbusters is one of them ones that like you really if you haven't played it, you really need to play it. I know it's one of these ones that's going up in value as well now. It's not like 4 or 5 years ago when you could probably pick it up for like £5-10. It's now like £50-60 to get it.
That's right.
It's getting up there. But like it's a reason why it's that. It's because it is so great. And then like moving on from there, obviously Golden Axe. I absolutely love Golden Axe. I've done the Fighting with 5 Lives Golden Axe, and it's probably one of the best gameplay videos on my thing. I actually nearly beat it.
Oh, right.
Only because I'd put so much time in that. It's like when people say, oh, Streets of Rage Golden Axe, I never had Streets of Rage until probably right at the end of the Mega Drive. And I never had Streets of Rage 1. I had Streets of Rage 2.
Right.
So when people say, like, oh, the original Streets of Rage, I weren't really into it. But Streets of Rage 2 is brilliant, yeah. Like when the new Streets of Rage 4 come out, I've got that, like as soon as it released at midnight, I downloaded it on the PS4 and played it and beat it within about 2 hours because I loved it.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing if you complete a game in 2 hours?
I don't know, because they base it on the retro stuff. Like back then, 2-hour games were unheard of. Everything you could do in like under an hour. It's like
there were games before that where they either didn't have an ending or they were programmed in such a way that you'd never get to the end.
Yeah, so I suppose it depends on the style of game. If it's like an RPG or something where they're just based to go on forever, whereas playing like a 2D platformer or side-scrolling beat-em-up, then they were pretty short back then. Because one of the other games I had was Turtles Hyperstone Heist. And when I'd done my top 6 Mega Drive games, that actually got in it because I absolutely loved that. But that was going back more to the arcades because when I was at my mum's, I never really had any consoles. In fact, I only had one other console, which would have been the Game Boy. But that was what my dad got me. So I used to, because I could take it because it was obviously small handheld. But other than that, we used to have a caravan in Clacton, and it was on one of these little like parks that weren't a lot there, and it had a little club, and it literally had an arcade in there, probably half the size of your game room. That's how big it was. There was probably like 4 or 5 things in there.
Half the size of this game, really would be nothing.
It was tiny. It was like a corridor. It was like 4 arcade cabs on the side and a window on the other side, and that was it. But one of them was the Simpsons 4-player game, the arcade game.
Yep, know it well.
And I absolutely loved that game. And when we went back to Arcade Club last year, we actually beat it, and it just brought back so many memories because all of my weekends, like down the caravan, were spent playing that game. Like going up, can I have another 20p, another 10p here and there? Obviously, things were a lot cheaper back then. It was only like 10p a credit, whereas like now they charge you 50p a pound, whatever it is.
That's it. Yeah.
But like, it had like a racing game there. I wasn't really into my races back then. I was more into me beat 'em up platformer stuff. I still am now. This is why I love the 2D platformers, stuff like that, and the side-scrolling beat 'em ups. But yeah, like the arcade. If I hear people come on here and they talk about the arcades, I wasn't really into the. Well, I wouldn't say I weren't into the arcade. I never got taken to them, so I've never played the actual proper arcade games that everyone talks about because my family never took me to the seaside at the weekend. Or we went to this caravan. We literally just managed to stay on the caravan park, and like the only thing I knew was these 4 cabs. And one of them was the fruit machine.
Yeah.
So
it's very rarely I went into arcades like that as well. The only times I can remember ever going in was on school trips and things. If we going down, on the services, or if we were at the seaside, very rarely that we would sort of go into places like that. And I can relate a little bit to that. Yeah. I think that the one time I remember going in with my parents probably when we went to Blackpool when I was about 12, 13 years old. And because it was Blackpool in October of all times to go, which is never the best time to go because of the weather. So you sort of spent most of your time hopping from arcade to arcade.
Yeah, trying to avoid the wind.
That's it. The wind. Oh, yeah, and the wind. Yeah, it was horrendous. It was a horrible day. It was absolutely horrible. Yeah. Don't go to Blackpool in October if you can help it.
Unless you're going to the event there.
Yeah, well, that's what it's on, isn't it? Yeah, the Play Expo, isn't it?
October, yeah. But yeah, right, so moving on.
So from the Mega Drive, which sadly isn't, because that would have been one of my questions. Do you still have it or any of the original bits and pieces? But I think we established that you don't.
Yeah, I don't have that.
Where do you go after that?
So after that, my stepmom liked to go on a lot of holidays, and I was quite a brat as a kid, and I wouldn't sit still. So while we was over in Tenerife, we was in one of these dodgy electrical centres, whatever you want to call them, that sell all these dodgy cameras and stuff. Sitting there for not a lot of money was a Game Boy. So
an actual Game Boy.
Yeah, a real Game Boy. So
okay, yeah,
so pretty cheap at the time. Like I don't think it was boxed. I think it was just the Game Boy itself, but it was in really good condition. And they bought me that with these dodgy 1001 games and whatever else you used to get, just literally so they could just put that in my hand and shut me up. But I think I probably cost them a fortune in batteries. But so I've played all these games that probably don't even exist because they was on this really dodgy cart. probably some fake Tetris and stuff like that on there.
Yeah.
But other than that, they got me a couple of real games. So I had the Super Mario World, or Super Mario Land as it was known.
Super Mario Land, yeah.
And I absolutely loved that game. I probably played that to death.
Yeah, I had that. It's a really good game, that one.
Yeah, they don't make games like that anymore. They need to bring a bell out where like you move from square to square to do different levels. It's not the same anymore. Like nowadays, it's just completely run through. You've got to go through in one go rather than, oh, you move here, oh, you can stop there, yeah. And then you make choices of where you want to go rather than this is where you're told to go.
Yeah.
So you could either go up to the castle, you can go across to try and get like extra hearts and stuff, or who you want to save, whether it's Peach or Toad or whatever, things like that. But yeah, other than that, a game that really got me into 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up platforming style games was Castlevania 2.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
I being like probably 8 or 9 at the time and not having a clue what's going on, I absolutely loved that game. It's so simple, but it's so hard at the same time. Just moving along, making jumps over little platforms, and then hitting some candles so some hearts fall out of it. Just like it's just so simple, and it's like it's amazing like how that game has gone from there to being like one of the biggest franchises around. Probably.
That's right. I can't remember the first time I played a Castlevania game, but I remember thinking, wow, this is really special. This is like, I really, really enjoyed it, and I've not played that many incarnations of it. I don't. I think amongst my systems own a Castlevania game as such.
Yeah,
I play a lot of emulation, but yeah, I love the whole feel and concept for it, and you know, graphically, it's always had that gothic sort of feel to it because of the subject nature, and it adds to it as well. So.
No, yeah, well, it's a bit awkward, the one on the Game Boy, because obviously it was black and white. So,
but perfect because it recreates those old 1930s horror films and things like that.
It is good, but it's so bad. Literally, you move to one side to the other, go up a floor, move to the other side, up a floor. So it's like, rather than like just moving along constantly, it's just because obviously you're trying to climb up this castle to get to the end of it. Obviously, castle in the title for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah.
Where the Vania come from? Transylvania?
Maybe they're trying to rip off Metroid.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, strange that one. I'll have to look that one up, I think. Or maybe not. I don't know.
I wouldn't have. Because I'm sure one of the listeners would know and probably put it down below.
Well, I hope they do, because that's the reason for doing it, because it helps us understand what we're talking about as well.
They can educate us, but yeah, if people watch my channel and like talk to me, they know I don't really know a lot about gaming. I just like playing them.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
I can't tell you the reason why this game's going ahead, but I can tell you what happens in it. I don't know why that happens, but
well, I mean, no one pretends to be. You know, there are channels for being gaming historians and people want to go into great depth about development and all this business. But bottom line is, people want to play the game. So
that's it.
I'm more in the favour. Well, I'm exactly. I mean, I know bits about stuff that I know about, but I'd much rather just sort of play it rather than know sort of the ins and outs and backgrounds about it.
Yeah, because you talk to people and they say, "Oh, it's made by this developer," and I'm like, "I don't even know that." And they're like, "Oh, that's one of the biggest developers ever. How can you not know that they made this game or that game?" I'm like, "Because you don't play the developers, you play the game."
Exactly. You might take notice possibly of a logo on the front of the box if it's like Sega or Nintendo or Tengen, and just looking around what I've got, I can sort of look at here. Yeah, that's mostly what it is.
You know, like the big ones, like the Capcom and the Konami and stuff like that. But that's about it. Like, I can tell you, Castlevania is made by Konami. That's about all I can tell you.
Yeah, it's like Atlas, isn't it? I only from doing YouTube did I know more about Atlas games. But before that, I really had never even heard of them.
Well, all I know about Atlas is they make really good games. I can't tell you what they make.
They make expensively collectible games. I think that's what we've established from the last X number of months or years or so, is that their games tend to appreciate in value quite a lot, apart from the Trauma Center games, which are still dirt cheap.
That's because you're told that if it's got Atlas written on it, you know it's a good game.
Yeah, strange that one. I'm like you. Developers. Yeah, the ones I know, fair enough. If you've got that name on the front of it, all great. But otherwise, not really a selling point for me.
No.
So, how long do you have your Game Boy for then?
I've probably had that for probably the same amount of time as I had all my Mega Drive and stuff until my dad sold it.
So that went at the same time as well.
Yeah, because I think that went in the car boot job as well. But it was weird because it was an original grey Game Boy. I used to have one of them lights with the magnifying glass on it as well, so I could play it at night in my room and stuff and whatever else. Yeah. If we was out at a bar when we were abroad, I could still play it. Had the light on it, and it was in one of these like suitcase style things, like a proper Game Boy one.
Oh, carry case.
Like the carry case one, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
The big. Do you remember the big grey ones? That used to have the flips on the front and you open it up.
I do indeed.
Games in there and stuff. I used to have one of them.
There's either, when you do that, there's either going to be one of two things in there. It's either going to be a Game Boy or a drill.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's what it reminds you of, is a drill case. But they're probably quite collectible now, and that's gone.
They are. I think they certainly wouldn't be cheap to pick up.
Yeah.
because it's you know, especially you've got like loose Game Boy, loose cartridges, something, and or loose accessories. It's an ideal thing storage solution to put something like that in there.
Yeah, I'm sure that story is probably repeated over tens of thousands of people on YouTube. Oh, it was sitting up in my dad's loft for 10 years. He knew that I hadn't touched it. He thought, I don't want that no more, and got rid of it.
That's it. That's it.
Don't want this rubbish anymore.
Yeah, it's happened to me, and it's happened to you, and it'll happen to loads of other people as well. And it will continue to happen in years to come. People will be telling you exactly the same story about their PlayStation 4s being thrown out.
The only difference is now is we're here on the collector side of things, so hopefully they'll be sending it to us cheap.
That's it. Yeah, we live in hope.
So I've probably had that. Like I say, probably about 6 months after I got the Mega Drive.
Mm. And then you then moved on to your next one on your list, which is what I know very well. One of my favourite. So one of my favourite consoles. I think this was the one, because I bought one of these not long after I got my first 2 or 3 paychecks. I can't remember what it was. I went and bought a new 3 speaker stereo system with a surround sound built into it, and a 3 CD tray which just rotate the CDs round on it, and then sort of portable colour television. And I bought one of these, which is I nearly said what it was then, but so I know this system very well.
Yeah,
and it is
a PlayStation 1, which I got on launch day.
Oh, you got yours on launch day? Wow.
My nan bought it for me on launch day, and she pre-ordered it from Toys R Us, I believe, and it come with a couple of games. Can I remember what the games are? I've not got a clue. Probably something like Rayman or something. I don't even know what was out on launch day.
I've got absolutely no idea what the... Well, I presume Ridge Racer was one of them, wasn't it?
Ah, Ridge Racer. That is a great game. I had that. Ridge Racer.
Yeah, because that was I'm pretty sure that was one of the release titles. I honestly I don't know what the release titles were.
I can't honestly remember either.
Yeah,
it was round my nan's. I only went round there one day a week, and I was in secondary school then. I was trying to become more educated. But
how did that turn out?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. It could have got a bit better. Well, I didn't do very well at English, but you could probably tell that from listening.
Yeah, we would say English probably isn't your first language, but
yeah. You should have seen my French results. They were even worse. I didn't know that grade existed.
Oh dear me!
I thought it stood for great.
Oh my goodness me!
I thought F was the last one, but apparently it goes to G.
Well, if you move up a level to the next stage, you actually get a U.
Yeah,
I've got one of them. I'm proud of my U.
Or if you're like Delboy, you can get all A's.
Well, yeah, but you have to pay the teachers off first, don't you, or something like that?
No, it's because he didn't turn up for them. He'll turn up.
A for absence. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I'm very proud of my unclassified. It was obviously that bad that they couldn't give it any classification whatsoever.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't mind you, but I studied for 2 years. I studied really hard for 2 years, and then you get that thrown back at you. Oh yeah, this is actually isn't good enough to give you a grade at all. Let's just patted me on the head and give me a sugar lump and move me on.
Yeah, there you go. That'll do. See you later. Been nice name for 2 years, but yeah, you didn't get enough to get a grade in it.
Yeah. Thanks for coming anyway. Yeah, thanks for coming. Yeah. Oh dear. So did you have a big PlayStation 1 collection? Did you sort of throw yourself into that, or was it just? No,
because obviously I was still quite young at the time. I was literally just starting secondary school. Like I would have been 11 in '97 when it came out. So yeah, I'm very young. So it was literally what I got bought by other people, like birthdays, Christmases, and if I saved up any money and bought a game myself. So my gaming taste was just basically what people decided to buy me rather than me picking it myself. So I've got to thank my family for the games they brought me up on is the ones I like. So
yeah. But
I did pick a couple of games out on that myself. I don't know whether I should talk about it now because one of them is one of the games I picked, so I think I should leave that.
yeah, we'll leave that one till a bit later on because we don't want to spoil that one.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil that, but yeah, that one I spent a lot of time playing. But other than that, I had Crash Bandicoot.
Yep.
Rayman.
Yep.
Spyro. There's a theme.
All the platformers, yeah.
There's a theme, yeah.
Mind you, apart from Rayman, they're all 3D. Crash and Spyro's all 3D platformers, aren't they? So
they're all the ones that we then looked at and went, "Oh, these look quite cute. We get him these."
and in all fairness, they turn it because sometimes when members of the family do that, and I don't know if you've had this before, they look at the front cover and you open it up and you go, okay, that's interesting. Thank you very much for buying me Winnie the Pooh's Honey Hunt on the PlayStation 1. Completely unexpected, but in terms of Crash and Spyro, and I'm Rayman because they're all quality games.
Yeah, they are. They're all great platformers that are really hard to beat.
I was quite trying to putting the Crash to beat that game.
Yeah, I beat Crash. Crash is probably the easiest one out of the three, I think. Rayman,
probably why I completed it. Yeah.
Rayman, I think I complete that, but I think I've never completed Spyro, so maybe that's something I need to get back and do.
I mean, I have a confession. I've never played a Spyro game.
Never. Oh, you need to play Spyro. It's great. It's a bit like Mario 64, but as a dragon.
But at the other end of the scale, when I got my PlayStation 1, I was obviously considerably older than yourself. Yeah. So sort of like games starring little dragons didn't really appeal to me.
Yeah, that's true.
I was more likely to go and buy, the latest racing game or the latest Pro Evolution or, wrestling games or something, or Apocalypse or Resident Evil or those sort of games. I wasn't, little dragons running, I just couldn't get into it, couldn't buy it. And, despite what all the magazines said, they gave them, rave reviews at the time and said it's a really good game. I have no doubt it's a good game. I do have a couple of Spyro games in my collection, but it's never really appealed to me.
I don't actually think I've got the original Spyro on PS1 in my collection. I've got Spyro 2.
I don't think I've got any. I don't got any PS1 Spyro. I think I've certainly got one on the Wii anyway. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I know that.
I've got one on the Wii actually. Funny enough. Oh, which one is that? The Legend of something. Legend of Spyro.
Yeah, mine's obscured by something, so I can't see what it is at the moment.
Yeah, my one's here. Funny enough, it is the Legend of Spyro, Diamond and Dragon or something.
No, that's not. I got
Dawn of the Dragon. That's it. Sorry, that's my bad English. Dawn of the Dragon. I knew I had
Dawn of the Dragon. Right, yeah. I think mine's the Eternal one, Eternal Night or something like that.
Oh yeah. I don't have that one. I've literally that's the only one I've got on the Wii. The Dawn of the Dragon.
I must be honest with you, I think the reason I picked it up was because it's a Spyro game and it was cheap, because they're usually cheap games, those ones.
Yeah, probably. I think I found mine in a charity shop for like 50p, and that's the only reason I've got it in the collection.
Yeah,
it is one.
We can all tell that story as well, can't we?
I think that's how most of my games got it.
Not all of them, mate. Not some of the stuff you got.
Yeah. Once you get a few of them, you've got to go through all of them, ain't you?
That's your method, certainly. I'm not sure I'm going to agree with your method or not.
Once you go past 50%, you just might as well go for it.
Don't say that, because I've either gone past or approaching rapidly 50% on quite a lot of stuff. I'm just happy to admit defeat. I'm happy with 78%. That'll do, mate. Anyway, everybody either goes, they either don't want any, they want the ones they want, so they go 100%. I'm going 78. Must be different. At least I'm happy with that. Yeah. So how long did you have your PS1 for then?
I had the PS1 for a long time. I never got a PS2. I just carried on with the PS1. And once I got to 15, 16, I was able to buy my own games for it, or pick my own games for it. I was quite into army style games.
Yeah.
And there's one you probably never had anyone talk about yet, but I actually had a game called Return Fire.
You're right. I haven't had anybody talk about that one.
Have you heard of it?
Nope.
No. It is an absolutely fantastic game. You basically, it's a top-down shooter style game. So you start at the beginning of the level, and you pick either a tank, one of them little army buggy type things that go really fast, or a helicopter.
Yeah.
And it's basically the same idea as the helicopter games on the Mega Drive, what have gone out of my mind. The three of them.
Desert Strike.
Yeah, the strike games. That's it. That's what
Strike games. Yeah.
It's basically that sort of style game where you're trying to kill things and finish the level. And there's loads of levels, but obviously you're a helicopter, a tank, or a little buggy thing. And it's actually really great fun. It's so basic and simple. The levels are really short. There's probably only about 12 levels. You can probably sit here and finish the whole game in about half an hour if you're really good at it. But it's one of these ones you can literally put in over and over and over again and just play it. And if you've got friends, it's actually got 2-player modes on it, so it's really good.
Oh, right. So there's an option there. But don't you find sometimes that you hook into a certain game like that? And most people, as you said, you finish in half an hour, or but you absolutely, there's something about it. You play it over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, the replayability of it is just unreal. But yeah, other than that, I had a game which I'm gutted I don't have anymore because it's going to cost me a fortune to get back. It's another army style game on the PS1, obviously. Yeah, it's Team Buddies.
Again, I've never heard of that one.
It's a party style game where you have to run around. There's 4 teams. You run around and you collect blocks, and you take them back to your base. There's like 4 members on each team, or 2 members on each team, whatever you pick. And you have to run back to your base with these blocks. And there's like a little building platform with like 4 lights on it, and you put the blocks on them. And depending on how many blocks you put on there, it makes a different weapon. So if you get 1 block, you just get a normal gun. If you get 2 blocks on there, you get a machine gun. But if you're able to fill up all 4 blocks, you get a rocket launcher.
Oh, right.
And the rocket launcher is absolutely fantastic because it literally wipes them all out in one go. So if you've got the whole team standing there, 4 people, and you fire that rocket launcher at them, you wipe out a whole team.
And this is quite an expensive game to pick up now, is it?
It's getting up there. It's probably it's over 50. It's probably pushing the 100 now, I suppose.
Oh dear.
80 to 100 for a box complete, good condition copy. But it's really fun. It's absolutely brilliant. It's one
So you can't put a price on something like that, can you? If you have the money available and you want it back in your collection, you would spend that just to have it back.
Yeah, it's one of these ones I want, but I just haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. It's
one day, though, I'm sure.
Yeah, I might take a gamble if one comes up on CX at a box copy, but if you look for like on eBay for a complete one, it's more than I want to pay. So
no, that's the key part of it. You only want to pay what you're happy to do. So, and
I was stupid really because I had a loose disc of it and I sold it on eBay for like 30 quid like last year, and I think I should have kept it just to play.
Well, yeah, at least you've had you'd have a loose copy of it.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to get the box one, you get the box one. You sell the loose one to get some of your money back in it, I suppose.
Yeah, but I was stupid and sold it. You won't hear that pretty much here that I've sold stuff.
No, that's a completely alien concept. Yeah. Certainly for me as well. So I mean, those 3 consoles, they're consoles I've owned and re-owned again and happily played on. A lot of affiliation to the Mega Drive and the PlayStation 1. So I love both those systems. We'll move away from that to moment because obviously we've got some more to come back to. Let's talk about some of your games now. Because do you know what? Just sort of slightly, I know you gave me a list earlier. Yeah. If you want to, because obviously we've talked about the Mega Drive and the Game Boy. I noticed on that list you've got 3 games, 2 Mega Drive games and a Game Boy game.
Yeah, you want to do them 3, do you?
If we do them 3 first, and then we'll tackle the other 3 after your next bit of gaming history.
Yeah, no worries. You want me to do them the 2 Mega Drive ones first, or
yeah, do the 2 Mega Drive ones first, and then we'll do the Game Boy one at the end. Yeah, so these are really interesting choices. The Mega Drive ones. When we went through this before, and when Al read them out to us, like, oh, wow, that's interesting, because I'm always interested to get games that we haven't talked about, but these ones in particular, I just love to, particularly one of them. I'll point out which it is when we get along to it, because I'm surprised that game's turned up on a list. Not because it's a bad game, but I was just like, okay, that's okay. I'd like to find out about that one. So, give us your first game. That's the first game on your games to be stuck on a desert island with your favourite games. Number 1 of 6. So the floor is yours.
Like we said, I could have gone for the usuals, your Sonics, your Marios, your stuff like that. The ones that everyone had. But I thought, if you're going to be stuck on a desert island and you could only have 8 games in total, which ones did I want? Which should have got the replayability and the fun. So the first one I've picked for the Mega Drive is Battle Squadron.
You've given it some thought, haven't you? That was the perfect lead into that. You've given all the right reasons for picking these games.
Yeah.
And I can tell you thought about this. So Battle Squadron on the Mega Drive, game I've never played.
Do you know what type of game it is?
What, sorry?
Do you know what type of game it is?
My guess would be a shoot 'em up.
It is a shoot 'em up. Yeah, it is a top-down vertical shooter.
I know I've never played it. I've heard of it because I get it confused with Slap Fight.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's probably a completely different game.
It's one I've recommended to a lot of people over the last couple of years as games they need, because it's one that no one talks about. They all talk about your usual shoot 'em ups, your whatever they are. Forget now. The other ones.
Yes, all the other ones apart from this one. Yeah.
Thunder, whatever they are.
The Thunder Force game, Thunder Force 3, Thunder Force 4. Yeah,
mine goes like your trucks and stuff like that. Everyone talks about them.
Yeah.
But Battle Squadron, it takes it up a level because it is brutal. Even playing on the easiest level, so many enemies come at you at once. There's so many bullets flying. It's like playing one of these cave shooters from what you get in Japan. It's one of them style ones, but made for the European market. So it's the same design as like the Truxton and stuff like that, where they ain't all these stupid, colourful bullets coming at you. It is like a proper European release. But it's if you can get to the 3rd level on that, you are amazing.
I can barely get off the first screen on R-Type, so I've got absolutely no chance of it, really.
Yeah, it's hard. If you can get past the 2nd level, I will give you all credit, because I struggle getting past the 2nd level, and I've played it for years.
How many levels are there then?
I think there's only like 4. It's not a lot. It's 4 or 5. There's not a lot of levels on it. I wouldn't know. I haven't got past the 3rd one.
But even so, not get past the 3rd level. This is on your favourite games list, which is probably even more fascinating as to why it would be on. If it's a game that you're enjoying, but you've never actually got close to finishing with respect to you never actually got close to finish it.
No, it's one of these games, like some games you play and like they frustrate you so much you want to rip the cartridge out and tear it in half.
Yeah.
This one isn't like that. This one just thinks, I lost, I want to play again.
Yeah, you do find games like that, so I can see your reasoning there.
I think I recommended it to Retro Red Steve for his Shim Up Saturday, and he actually played it, and I think he got absolutely destroyed on it, but he was laughing and enjoying it, and he just kept playing and playing and playing. I think it's one of his longest ones because he just really loved it.
So it's got that immediate hook, brings you in and keeps you there. That's what it's all about.
It's like I'll have another go. One of them sort of ones. It's like looking at the time going, it's gone past 17 minutes. I'll have one more go at it, because it's one of them ones you just want to keep playing.
Was it ever an arcade game? Was it just a?
It's made by EA, so.
Oh, okay.
It might have been an arcade. So I've got no clue about arcades. I'm sure there's people out there listening that might have an idea, but I'm going to say no.
I'm just wondering with that whole sort of another go thing. If it wasn't an arcade game, they could have made a bloody fortune where people could put 20p into it and keep going and keep going.
It would have been a coin eater without any question whatsoever. Because it's one of these games you want to try and get better at. You want to try and beat it, but it's brutal. So I know Eddie and Dylan are, if they're listening, they love their shooters. Go on, give it a go. They've probably both got it on Ever Drives or whatever else.
So how did you pick up? Did you buy it yourself? Did you? Or you wouldn't have done with it at the time. No.
It's one of these ones that I picked up very early on when I was collecting for the Mega Drive, when I decided to go for the full set. Well, I weren't even going for the full set at the time. It was just like games I was looking to get, and it was like I was looking for the shooters because I wanted to get them just to play them. Probably going back 5-6 years ago now, maybe 7.
Right.
I wanted to get the shooters so I could play them, and then once you get the shooters, you want to get the platformers, then you want to get them. But it's one of these ones I'd never heard of before, and I would have never got it before. But it's like, I went on eBay and it was like £3 or £4 complete boxed with the manual and everything, and I'm like, yeah, I'll get it and give it a go. It's one of them. It's one of them ones with the yellow and black spine, the old EA ones. Everyone looks at and thinks, rubbish.
Yes.
No one likes them. It's that style box. So you look at it and you think, oh, that's just going to be a rubbish EA sports style game. But it's probably the best EA game out there. I'm gonna throw it out there as that. It's the best EA game on the Mega Drive.
Probably got a good chat for me because I mean a lot of the output on the Mega Drive was sports games from EA, wasn't it? So
yeah, well they did do quite a few decent ones. Not just sports games. They've done Legend of Gallade or whatever it's called. That's pretty fun. And obviously the Strike series were done by EA.
Yes, that's very true. Yeah.
And Outrun, not Outrun, the other ones, the
Road Rush.
Road
Rush. Yeah.
Yeah. They were done by Road. So they did make quite a few games before they decided to sell out and make virtual money on sports games.
Yeah. No, I stand corrected. Now you've run through that list of classics there. That sort of put me in my place. That's all right.
So I'm here putting my neck on the line saying I think it's the best EA game when there's all these classics it's up against.
But then again, it's personal judgment, and you'll find there'll be other people who will agree with you.
Well, there's plenty of people out there that don't like shooters. So
yeah. I like shooters. I love shooters. I'm just no good at them.
Yeah, this is one you want to get. You'll die every time, but you'll laugh and enjoy it, and you'll want to carry on.
I'm going to take you up on that. I'm going to look up for a copy of that. Yeah.
If you really want to have a go on it, put it on hard mode because I think it's like 30 enemies on screen at once. It's like ridiculous like that.
Well, the good thing is now I know that if I did do something like that, I would see the funny side of it. Because if I did that and started that way, first of all, I wouldn't enjoy it a great deal. So Battle Squadron, I shall put that onto the list of everybody else's games who's done this so far. Certainly the first time we come across. Now,
is this the one
this is the one that surprised me a little bit because I know about this game when it came out. And again, this would have been on the 8 and 16-bit micros, which is where my gaming was at the time. And it was, I think it was very much regarded as a reasonably fun concept and a decent arcade game.
Yeah.
But it was a bit on, it didn't get...
Basic.
Yeah, it felt a bit... The reviews, I don't remember anybody sort of raving about it and giving it medals and awards left, right, and centre. And I played it myself. I think I may have played it on the Mega Drive on an emulation in the last sort of couple of 3 years. I'm still sort of like.
You probably played it on one of the collections because it always pops up on the collection ones.
Yeah,
the PS3 and the 360 stuff. It's the PS4 and all that. It's on all of them.
Yeah, yes. Actually, having said that, now I may have played it on the PlayStation 3 Mega Drive collection. That's just where we've come across. But
for a game that's like not talked about or not highly rated to get on all of these collections all the time, it must do something right.
Well, yeah, you could certainly argue that some of the games are something like Vector Man constantly gets included on these.
Oh yeah,
these...
that's true. That one is shocking.
Yeah, and you think, well, you know, well, not just one Vector Man, but two Vector Man games. If one wasn't bad enough,
the one that never come out over here, yeah, we stick that on there, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. So there are some sort of question marks over that. I wouldn't put this game in that category because I think it's more well known.
Yeah.
And everybody's now dying to find out what this is.
Yeah.
So don't make them wait any longer. What is it, mate?
I might wait a little bit longer. It's Bonanza Bros or Bonanza Brothers, whatever you want to call it. It's Bonanza Bros. It's Bonanza Bros on the Mega Drive.
Yeah. Go on, sorry.
You were sitting there scratching your head earlier when I said that, and then you said Bonanza Brothers. So I'm assuming on the 8-bit systems it was known as Bonanza Brothers rather than Bonanza Bros.
Well, Bonanza Bros, Bonanza Brothers. It's I've always called it Bonanza Brothers.
Yeah.
Same way you call Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, don't you? You call it Super Mario Bros. Very rarely hear people say that. Yeah. But I'm interested to hear your story behind this because I'm not saying it's a bad game. After I played it, I think it's a fairly normal, good game to play. So why is it on your list?
Basically, it's because it's on the PS3 collection, and at work we bought a PS3, and while we're sitting there with nothing to do in the afternoons, because it's the shift where you're just hanging around, if anything happens, you go out and whatever, you get a lot of spare time. And I used to bring in a few PS3 games, and I brought the Mega Drive collection in, with obviously this game on it, and I put it on, and we played a few of the other games, and we got to this game, and me and the guy playing it, on 2 players, he'd never played it before, he'd never even seen it before. He's a little bit younger than me, so he's like PlayStation era upwards, so he never knew the Mega Drive bits. And we started playing it, and he absolutely loved it. He was terrible at it to start with, but like it's one of these games that like, because it's more of a stealth game more than anything. It's not like running all guns blazing style game. If anyone hasn't played it, it's a 2D game, and you're basically 2 bank robbers. One's tall and skinny, and one's short and fat. And you have to sneak around inside different buildings and steal stuff, and then get to the roof to get in a helicopter and escape.
While avoiding the security guards and
security guards and police and armed police and dogs and whatever else come at you.
And the alarms being tripped off and things like
that. Treading on rakes, and the rake hits you in the face a bit like the Simpsons with.
Sideshow Bob, yeah.
And the big fat guy with bombs that chucks them at you. It's brilliant. But yeah, it's made my list because we absolutely loved it, and we spent like so long playing it. We actually beat the game, and I can tell you now, it's got 11 levels. And the last level is like in a pyramid or something.
I never got that far with it, but
yeah, we actually beat it. We've only done it the once because it is quite hard to do. It's so brutal, and it's one of these games that shares the continues. So you get 3 continues, but that's not 3 each. It's 3 continues in total. So if one person is really bad and they keep dying, and they lose all the continues, that is all of your continues.
Oh, so there's like a strategic sort of element to it as well. So do you they come back in, or they come back in, or
if one person's been hit twice and they're on their last life, like their last bit, and there's one little bit to go, the person with full health goes in front and takes out the last couple so they can both escape, rather than him going in and dying and having to use one of the continues. Because once you complete the level, you get all your life back.
Yeah,
but you don't get the continues back. So it is kind of a strategy game, but it's so basic, it's so simple. It just looks cheaply made, but it works. It's one of these games that works, and because playing it, you can play it on single player, but it's not as good on single player because most of the levels it splits. So one person has to go one way and get some stuff, and the other person goes the other way. And obviously, it's on a time limit. If anyone's played it, you only get 3 minutes for each level.
Yeah.
So if you've got a big level, and you've got to go over one half of the building, do all that, and then come down the other side to get all the others, you're going to run out of time. Whereas if you're going to one side and someone else is going to the other side, you can get it done a hell of a lot quicker. And
God, sorry.
yeah, and like even with 2 of you playing, some of them levels you do nearly hit the 3-minute mark with 2 of you playing. So it is one of these games that you will not beat on your own unless you're a master at it.
So, given the fact that obviously your best experience of this comes from playing 2-player games,
Yeah.
and a single player mode isn't quite so good, is obviously because you've been on Desert Island on your own.
Yeah, well, yeah. Maybe a fish or a mermaid might appear. But if you're on a desert island, it's one of these games I really like and I'm really good at, but I could be better. And if I've got all that time, the idea is now I'm on this desert island on my own, I'm going to beat that on my own.
The big challenge is you can actually play it 2-player using one controller in each hand as well.
I can use my feet.
Yeah, or use your feet. Yeah. I mean that's it.
With the other.
But yeah, I mean that is. I think you've justified that pretty well there. Again, it's a game which you've got a great deal of enjoyment out of 2-player wise, but again, it's that memory attachment to it, the fun of doing it, actually getting to the end of the game, and now you said you can go back and play it single player with that challenge.
Yeah, it's one of them ones. Like if I'm sitting here bored and I've got like 10 or 15 minutes, I'll put it on and play it by myself. So it can be played single player. You don't have to play it 2-player. It's just because it's in the title, Bonanza Brothers. It's designed for 2 people.
And the thing is as well, because it's a game which most people may not have heard of before. Certainly, pre Mega Drive era may not be aware of it. I mean, it came out on it's a Master System version as well, and it came out on all the home micros.
Yeah.
So bringing that to other people, saying, "Oh, I haven't thought about that. Oh, yeah, I did play that. I never played. Oh, I'll go back and play that." It's nice to have on the list, game. You said not the usual stuff that people come up with, and it's always interesting to find out why. And like I said, I think that's perfectly justified, mate. I think that's a really good choice. I really do. I like choices like that. If anybody I've asked to be on this or coming on to be on this, those are the sort of choices I like to hear.
Yeah.
Because, as I said before you launched into your first one, the reason you were given for picking these games was because of playability, hookability games I enjoy playing, and that's what it should be all about. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the big hitting titles that everybody's heard of.
Yeah, that's why I thought I'd get something a little bit different.
Yeah. Having said all that, we now move on to your Game Boy game.
Oh, yes. This one isn't going to come as a shock to most people, because if they know me, they know I love this series. I talk about it a lot. I've got a lot of games from this series. It's one, if you're on the desert island on your own, you can definitely put a lot of hours into it.
Oh, I would hope so, because I tried to play it, and after about an hour or so, I gave up because I just don't get the concept of it. So,
what do you mean? It's brilliant.
I just don't understand it. I've never understood this at all. Believe me, I've tried. I've honestly tried to get into this and think.
It's because you need to be a bit younger for this one.
Well, when the craze sort of first started, it probably would have been where are we? Early 20s.
Yeah, 96, 97 time. So yeah.
Yeah, so I'd have been 21, 22, which I don't think is too far out of this, considering the fact that the age some people still play these games at.
Yeah.
And believe me, any popularity or fad or anything like that come along previously, I'd always try to get into it. This one, I just couldn't. And I do own a copy of this.
Yeah.
So,
I
do. Yeah.
Funny enough, I don't own a copy of this exact game. I own a different version of it. This is one I want, but every time I've looked for it, it's the colour on the label has been faded or bits missing, or something else is wrong with it. I don't want to say what that is because it will give the game away before I say it. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's one of these ones that you needed to watch the cartoon. There you go. That will give it away to some people before this game come out, because obviously the cartoon come out a lot like a year before the games come out.
I try watching the cartoon as well. I just sorry, I just couldn't get it.
That's it. Should we tell them what it is now?
Yes, go on. Put them out their misery if they haven't guessed already.
Yeah. So here I am trying to be a master of Pokemon.
Pokemon.
I picked Pokemon Yellow.
Is that because that was the first one you actually played, or is that a significant reason for it?
Pokemon Yellow come out later than Red and Blue. I had both Red and Blue. Because if you don't know about Red and Blue, you have to get both because they've got different Pokemon on each one. So there's like 8 different Pokemon that you can't get on each one. So you have to have both of them and transfer them over, which means you need another Game Boy or a friend who will lend you their Game Boy to do it.
It's an expensive hobby, this at times, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And with the link cable.
Yeah.
It's like one of the only games that use the link cable. Who knew that back then? You can play 2-player on the Game Boy with 2 Game Boys.
Were there many games that used the link cable?
I only know Pokemon. There probably is others, but I don't know any others. But I've picked Yellow because it's Pikachu. Pikachu is like the main person here, and obviously, if you don't know Pokemon, if you play Red and Blue, your Pokemon stay in their balls, but with Yellow, the Pikachu doesn't want to stay in the ball and it follows you around.
I'm already lost. Probably I didn't understand it. What? Why is this happening?
That's why you need to watch the cartoon, because if you watch the cartoon, the Pikachu won't go in a Pokeball, so it just follows Ash around, which is the idea of Pokemon Yellow. Is you've got Pikachu. He's the only Pokemon you can pick at the start. There's no other choices. That is who you get. And he doesn't go in his Pokeball, and he just follows you around the whole game.
Well, why won't he go in the Pokeball? Is he being deliberately stubborn, or is it just...
He's scared of it or something.
Oh, okay.
You don't like it. Every time you go put a Pokeball to him, he flicks it away. He doesn't want to be inside the ball. He likes to be out in the air, which I can't blame him.
No, that's very true.
Last year and a half, we all want to be out of the ball now, don't we? So...
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't want to go in. Obviously, lockdown was our ball, and we were the Pokemon, we were the Pikachus going in there. So yeah. I understand that. It's a strange analogy if I've ever heard one.
So yeah, what I was saying about earlier is obviously like you don't want to go and just buy any copy. You want to go and get a refurbished one, because if you get a refurbished copy, do you know what they do with it?
No.
They put a new battery in it.
So yes, the backup.
If you've got a 20-year-old Game Boy game, how good do you reckon that battery's going to be?
It's going to be a bit on the ropey side, I would say. Reliability would be low.
So if you've just put 40, 50 hours in this Pokemon game, got a really good squad, and then you turn it on the next time, and then it says new game rather than continue, what are you going to do?
Cry.
Yeah. Which is what a lot of people do. Some of them, like, they train their Pokemon up to max level and got all of them. And then the next time they go and put it on after like 2 or 3 years because they haven't touched it, and it says new game, and they go, "Where's my save file? I've put 200 hours into this. I've got every Pokemon. Where's my save file?"
Yeah,
it's gone because the battery's knackered.
That's it. But haven't you got the transfer pack facility on this to go to the N64?
You have, but that was later on. And if you bothered doing it, if you've just got the Game Boy and haven't got an N64 with a transfer pack. Back then, who would have bothered doing that? Who when you're like 12, 13 years old, do you think, oh, my battery might die?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
And then when you decide to turn your game on 10 years' time later, and you think, oh, yeah, I remember this game. I've got loads of good Pokemon in it. Oh, where are they?
I remember I picked the transfer pack up in a bundle with an N64, and I thought, what on earth is this for? So I went and read up about it. I thought, oh, it's a Pokemon. I'm never ever going to use that. So
yeah,
that was traded in straight away.
It's more for Pokemon Stadium, because you can obviously transfer your Pokemon from your Game Boy games and battle your friends on it, on the 3D style stadium thing, whatever you call it, Pokemon Stadium. So obviously a stadium.
Yep,
that's the idea of it. But other than that, I don't think you can you store the Pokemon on it? I don't think you can. I think it's literally just used for battling. I don't think you can. Although it's a transfer pack, I don't think it's to store. I think it's just a transfer and to battle them.
No, yeah, I think you might be right. Although again, as we said earlier, if people know what it, if you can do that, put something in the comments, because we're both keen to know. Did you have an obsession with Pokemon after that, or did you just stop after the one game, or did you carry on playing all the other ones?
I carried on playing onto the DS. Well, I carried on playing. Obviously, you got the Silver and Gold come out on the original Game Boy, or Color version, Game Boy Color, should I say, which was made it a little bit more different, because you could see the Pokemon in color now, rather than just black and white. Although Pokemon Yellow you can play in color as well, but the color isn't very good at it because it come out right at the start of the Game Boy Color lifetime rather than at the end of it. So it had like the yellow for Pikachu. It was just like the basic colors, not like the ones you get more near the end where obviously it's got that little bubble bit on the cartridge. Give it a little bit more space. It was a yellow cartridge. You'd never know it's for Game Boy Color. You would never clue. But, I carried on and all the way up to the Switch. I've got the latest one on the Switch, Pokemon Shield. No, I've got Sword, not Shield. I need Shield. I've got Sword, and I've beat that. It's one of these ones that once you become a Pokemon fan, you want to get them all, and you want to beat every game.
Did you have the Pokemon Go thing as well or not?
Yeah, I still play Pokemon Go actually.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
There's one other person in the YouTube community I know that plays it. I won't name them in case I don't want to be named, but yeah, I do have a YouTube friend on there, on my friends list.
Oh, brilliant.
I do trade gifts now and again.
Yeah, because that was a concept which really sort of took off, didn't it? I don't think anybody realised how successful that would actually be. Yeah,
it weren't just that. I had the cards, I had everything. I've got the figures, I've got teddies. There's a teddy for you.
Oh yeah, this is
Magikarp.
Yeah. So you even know the names as well.
Oh yeah, you have to. You have to know. You have to know the move sets. You have to know which types beat other types. Like, there's no point getting a rock Pokemon out to fight a water Pokemon because what happens to rocks when they get wet?
Yeah. Slippy gets slippy, don't they? Yeah. I didn't realise that there was so much involved in this. It's probably one of the reasons I didn't get into it. Because if I'd known it was all this, I'm not going to get into this.
It's more of a strategy game. Actually, you need to know quite a lot about it. I used to get all the books that used to tell you what Pokemon learnt different moves and how good the moves were and stuff. What levels they learnt them at. So you knew how high to train up your Pokemon before you went and battled certain gyms, because all the gyms are different types.
It's just so much to it. I've got no idea. I know it's got a big following. You know, and I know people devote cosplay and all sorts of stuff to it, and stuff that I'm never ever was going to get interested in. So I know there's a massive following for it, but there's an awful lot to know about it.
I could sit here for 2 or 3 hours just talking about Pokemon with you, but
yeah, we both got to go to bed at some point, so you know.
We bore people. Yeah, I've beat Pokemon so many times every game. Yeah, it doesn't actually end. It just keeps going and going and going. It's one of these games that doesn't have an end on it. You can beat the Pokemon League, what they call it, and you become the Pokemon Master, which is obviously the idea of the series. Because if you watch the cartoons, he starts off by saying he wants to be the very best, the greatest Pokemon Master of them all. So you win his dream for him. And then you go and fight. Then you can battle other legendaries and get them after you've beaten that, and then you can re-beat the league again, and then you have to go around and get all the other Pokemon what you don't own, train them all up. It's one of these games people have put thousands of hours into it.
Yeah, and you can see why.
Series. And then if you get bored, you can start again. Once you've got every Pokemon and you beat everything, and you think, oh, this is too easy now, you can now start again and try a different Pokemon to start. And go again.
Yeah, it is mind blowing how in depth that can actually get, and I bow down to your superior knowledge on this sort of thing. I must be honest with you, it's still something I'm not going to get into.
No, for me, stuck on a desert island, I could literally just take that one game and I wouldn't be bored.
Well, if you had the whole series, which would make for a very interesting episode, but if you had the whole series...
Yeah, I could have done that, but then you would have been sitting here scratching your head wondering what I was talking about for...
Yeah, I'd have been feigning interest after probably about the second or third game, but...
And same for the people listening, if they're not into Pokemon. We'd rather just give them like 10, 15-minute talk about it than 2 or 3 hours talking about it.
That's very true. That's very true. But... I can see the reasoning for it. It is that sort of game which you'd need to occupy your time with.
Yeah,
and
it's why I never had a big Game Boy collection. When we were saying at the start, did I have a big Game Boy collection? No, because I had Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, and that was
which sounded to me like it was all you needed. So
yeah, that is all you need.
You're very happy with that, yeah. Right. Okay. Well, we'll dip away from your favourite games for the moment and just drop back into your gaming history because there's a little bit to go on that one. We got to the PlayStation 1. And then, like quite a few people I've spoken to on this, I know certainly Lee I spoke to last time, Nerdy Geezer. I'm pretty sure James, Time Warp James, did exactly the same. Possibly even Pete SNES-tastic. I'll have to, can't remember that one. But this sort of genre gaming you got into after you've been playing on the consoles. So this was
the
PC gaming. Why did you end up with PC gaming?
Strategy games. It was the best system, what we want to call it, the best way to play strategy games. And there was so many.
And when we're saying strategy here, we're talking Civil War, war games, things like that.
Yeah. Obviously, one I can't mention because we're going to get onto that later on as well. So
we are indeed. Yep.
That was the main reason for it, because you could play online with more than just yourself behind the thing. You could play online multiplayer.
So do you have all the big PC setup and everything, the powerful PC to run something like this?
No, not back then.
Did you not need it back then? Because I think remember having a PC and you could run bloody anything on it.
We're talking the start of 2000s here. They're nothing like what PCs are now.
When I bought my second PC, which probably would have been around the same early 2000s. Mine had a DVD drive on it, which was the thing because
I had a DVD. I had 2 DVD drives on it, so you could copy stuff. I used to copy CDs illegally.
Yeah, we've all done that, possibly. If anybody's listening, we may have done something like that. But my I don't know even my DVD drive. But as soon as I got the PC, I went down to my local video shop. That's how long ago it is, when video shops or something, and they got DVDs in there. So I rented. I think it was The Mummy.
Yeah,
first film with Brendan Fraser in it, and he just wouldn't play properly on the computer, and I couldn't work out why, because I'm not a technical person, and I'd absolutely no idea as to why it did. So that was it. It just never worked properly, and I'm not sure why. I actually had to buy a DVD player in the end.
Yeah. So, mine used to work all right.
I don't know if it's because there's something to do with the drivers or the spec of it, or I don't know. Anyway, it just wouldn't work properly.
I didn't have DVDs anyway of all these strategy games I was playing.
Well, you would have time to. If you weren't backing up CDs, and you were.
They broke that's all.
Yeah.
And games. Copying some games just in case my one got damaged while I was playing it. Not to sell to people in the school playground. No.
No. Was it just strategy games you played on your PC, or was it anything else? Or
probably just strategy. Obviously, like your solitaire and stuff like that. Just
that doesn't
say
count.
That's a strategy game as well. I used to like Minesweeper. Do you remember that Minesweeper?
I can never understand Minesweeper.
I used to enjoy that.
I'm a very simple man with a very small brain. I simply couldn't understand. I'm probably the only person who played Minesweeper and thought, I ain't got a clue what the hell I'm doing. I'm just clicking squares here, and then it's finished. No.
Technically, that's probably classed as a strategy game as well.
Yeah, it is. It is. I completely agree. But you weren't sort of playing Quake and things and Doom and.
No.
No, it's just simply strategy game. How did you get into strategy games, though? Because that's probably the more interesting story here. So having gone from sort of playing on console games, with the exception of the one we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I presume that might have been a big sort of delve on it. But what got you in? What got you into the strategy genre?
Well, the PC was bought for my schoolwork, and we was out and about one day, and I saw a copy of The Sims.
Ah.
I put hours into that game. That could have made my list. But that was a great strategy game because he's trying to obviously earn the money to upgrade your house and buy better stuff and make your career better. And I spent hours on that trying to get massive mansions. And if anyone's watching this and is starting to play it, I don't know if anyone out there is actually trying to play it now rather than 25 years ago when it came out. The best way to do it is to max out your painting skills and just buy loads of little painting stands and just paint all day, and you make like $200 for every painting you sell, and you can probably paint like 15 a day, and that was the best way to earn the money on there.
When I first saw The Sims advertised on telly, I thought, oh, that's a good idea. I like the sound of that. And then I played it for about an hour and I got bored.
Did you play it on the PC though?
Yes.
Have you ever played any of the console ones?
No, I don't believe I have.
Yeah, don't bother.
I've got quite a few of them. I've got quite a few of them knocking around, but
yeah, they're just not as good.
Is it because it's suited to a PC better?
It is, yeah, because it's designed for the building aspect of it rather than playing as the sim. Rather than because when you're playing on like the PS2 for example, it's more based on the sim character itself rather than like trying to improve everything as a strategy style game. Especially the newer ones where it's like more of the social aspect. You're trying to get your Sims to go out to different areas and socialize with people rather than getting them to earn a job or learn skills and stuff like that. So I've played the console ones. I've tried playing The Sims 4. I haven't played The Sims 4 on PC, so I don't know whether it's the same style on there. But it wasn't the same. It was just like it didn't feel like a Sims game. It just felt like, oh, here's a game I've made. You're playing as these two characters, go and move around town and do stuff. Yeah. It wasn't a strategy game. It was more of like a social aspect game. Oh, we can go down the pub with these people, or we can go shopping with them. Stuff like that. Whereas you never done that in the old one. It was literally you never left your house. That was it. You only left to go to work, and they walked outside and got in a car and disappeared for a few hours. But while they were gone, you was able to still work on the house.
Sounds like you got really deep into that game.
I spent 48 hours one weekend playing it non-stop, me and my mate.
48 hours non-stop?
Yeah, I went over to my mate's house for the weekend. We went over on the Friday, and we played it from Friday night till Sunday night when I come back and had a little bit of sleep. Goodness
me. But, was it worth it?
I don't remember. We probably maxed out everything that night. We probably had the best job, best ass. But it's like by the end of it, you're like so drained.
You'd be hallucinating. You'd probably imagine the entire thing.
Yeah, we was only like 14, 15 at the time. It's like, oh, everyone's out doing whatever at that age, and me and my mate are sitting there playing Sims for a weekend.
Well, I mean, go on.
And then obviously they brought all the expansions out, so then you have to have them as well now.
That's very true. Yeah, there's loads of expansion packs for it.
Yeah, I remember seeing so many expansion packs. It was unreal.
But then again, I suppose in a way that's good because it prolongs the life of the original game, doesn't it? I mean, rather than just spend time designing a brand new game, if you can do an add-on or because I used to play a lot of Football Manager games. And
what's the best Football Manager game?
Oh, the best one. Oh, cripes. For me, it's either going to be Championship Manager 93-94 or Football Manager 2005.
Well, there's a better one.
Go on then.
Premier Manager 99 on the PC.
See, I've had this argument before about Premier Manager. I had the second game on the Amiga. And me and my mate used to play the hell out of that. This was before I played Championship Manager, and once I played Championship Manager, that was it. Yeah. I could not go back and play another football management game. And goodness knows me, I have tried odd ones over the years, and I just do not get the same feeling for all that. All the series up until number 5, which was complete rubbish after the development team were cleared off and taken the game engine with them. So, and then that was the very first game they brought out as a new development team was Football Manager 2005, which I still think was a really, really good game. After that, it starts getting a bit more fiddly. I like the ones on the Xbox 360. I think I've got 2006 and 2007, and they are surprisingly playable.
No, I haven't got them yet. Surprisingly enough, with the amount of Xbox games I got, they're two of the ones I don't own. One of the. I've always been looking to get the second. That is one. The second is 2007 or 2000. That's quite an expensive one to get now. Always getting expensive. 2007.
Yeah, I was looking to get that for £1. So
that's a bargain. I think it's about £12 now.
Well, it was because when I picked it up, I left it on the shelf initially, and I went back and checked it on my phone. I thought, oh crap, I've dropped the ball on that one. That's worth more money than nothing else. So I had to run back the next day on a Sunday and out they were open, and they were open, and managed to nab it. So
well, at least you got it.
That's it. I didn't realise until I checked it that it was actually one which is a bit hard to find. But I've always preferred football. I've tried playing some strategy games, and I just can't get into them.
Well, that's probably why you don't like Premier Manager 99, because that's more strategy as well. Because it's not only do you build your team on it, you build your stadium, you do all your merchandise, you have to supply all the food and drink for the game.
Well, with Premier Manager 2, you had to sort of generate money by buying advertising hoardings, and there was a little bit of element into that, which is
this is like proper full on from that. You go on there and you can order 500 bottles of Coke, and you say how much you're going to sell them for.
Yeah.
Like you have to, like, if you buy like 10,000 sandwiches and they only sell 2,000 of them, and they chuck the rest away, and you lose money. It's like one of them sort of ones. You've got to work out how much of each stuff you need to buy. So it's more strategy.
You see, already to me, that's moving away from the if you're building a game, Premier Manager, it's a game about football management, not about making sandwiches and selling them and generating revenue and income. If you try to honestly,
if you've got one of these Division 3 teams down the bottom, and they've got no money, and you can make them an extra 5,000 every game, which adds up to buying a few more players at the end of the season, and could be the difference between getting them promoted or they stay in that league.
But the way I see it is, it's my job to manage the football team, and then you've got an administration. Oh, it's getting far too in depth for this.
You can do that. You said it at the beginning. You can pick there's about 8 or 9 different things you can pick. So you could literally just pick as being the manager. Or you could be the scout as well, and you can be the person who sorts out all the advertising boards.
Well, at least it gives you the option of doing it, which is fine. Yeah.
And I'm just crazy. I just click all of them. Yeah, I'll do the lot. Yeah. Only got to pay one person's salary. Just pay me. I was into that as well.
Yeah.
I'll give you a good fact about that.
Yeah, go on.
It's the only management game you can probably finish in a season in about 3 minutes.
Is it?
Yeah, because if you set everything up to auto do, so like your assistant manager picks your team if someone gets injured or suspended.
Oh yeah.
You literally just click the match day button and like auto result every time, and it literally just skips all of it, and you just sit there watching the screen flashing at you like all the results are coming in. And before you know it, the season's finished in about 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Did you try that, and was it successful, or was it generally?
Yeah, because you can cheat on it. You can pick yourself as 4 players, and you can transfer all the best players to your team from the other 3 teams.
Ah, right. Okay, well that's.
So if you've got all the 5-star players, and no one else in the world has got them because you've got them all.
Yeah, you're gonna romp away with it, aren't you?
Yeah.
I always used to hate that, because when I used to play the Championship Football Manager games, you could sort of set your assistant manager to pick the team. I never used to bother with pre-season. I'd organise the friendlies, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to sit here managing friendly games. I'd always set the assistant manager to pick the teams and not even bother watching the the match play out, just get the result off it. And then occasionally you'd leave a job and you go and manage somewhere else, or just for some particular reason you didn't want to play. You'd won the first day quite comfortably, so you put the assistant manager in charge, and they pick a completely random team. And you thought, hang on a second, I've got a guy at Swansea who scores 30 goals. You didn't pick him.
Yeah,
you picked somebody else who I haven't picked all season. You know, what use of assistant? So I'd never use that option at all. And that's what sometimes got it with me as well. Is you left a team managed somewhere else, and you had a guy who was a top quality player, or he scored a lot of goals, and then you go back a few weeks after you've left and see how they're getting on. I always used to do that and see if any players I could nab from there that I'd taken. If I anybody who could do me a job, I'll take them with me. And all the players that you used to pick regularly and would do the job for you, they weren't picking them. And I thought, well, and they all this, you have a successful formation.
Yeah.
As soon as you go, somebody else comes. They change the formation, and you think, just leave it as it is. Why would you change it? Why are you picking so and so? He was brilliant last year.
Yeah. Why have you put the best goalkeeper? Was had 20 clean sheets last season. You swapped him out for the fourth choice one, who's 17 years old.
Yeah, exactly. Why would you do something like that? And why would you play that player out of position? He's much better over there. And you should question the judgment of the computer. Why's the computer doing that? It's like, doesn't make any sense.
Playing right wing.
Yeah. It's not his strong. Anyway, we could go on for hours about this as well, couldn't we? We'll move on. So obviously a lot of PC gaming, a lot of strategy stuff there. We'll touch on that again shortly because we've got some bits coming up. So after your PC gaming, you then moved on to back to PlayStation.
Yeah, back to the PlayStation 3. So I completely missed out the PlayStation 2. And this came about, I was down the pub with my mate because this was going back to 2005, the PS3 came out, 2006 maybe.
That would be about right, yeah.
Yeah, so I just got my job where I'm working now. I've been there all these years. So I had living at home back then. I had quite a lot of disposable income. And I was down the pub with my mate one night and he went, "Oh, did you hear that tomorrow the PlayStation 3 is coming out?" And this is going back them years when no one bothered about pre-orders or anything. And we woke up the next morning and I went round and picked him up. We went to Toys R Us. And there it was, the PS3. And it cost me £600.
Oh, goodness, mate. 600 quid.
I've still got it now, the original fat PS3 that plays the PS1 and PS2 games.
And it's still in working order?
And it's still in working order. It's the one you see in all my videos where I'm recording PlayStation 1, 2 or 3 games off my iPad onto the TV.
I was going to say, have you ever turned it on?
Yeah, I use it quite a bit. Yeah, I play all my PlayStation 1 games on there, all my I don't really play the PS2. I don't really like the PS2. There's a few good games on it, but the PS3, I really enjoyed that. I say, we went down there and bought it on launch day, and I can tell you what game come out on it. It was a Rockstar game.
Table tennis? No? No? One Grand Theft Auto, was it? Sure.
You're in a little buggy. Driving around.
Not Smuggler's Run.
Smuggler's Run, yeah. It was a launch day game.
Was it? I didn't know Smuggler's Run made it to the PS3.
Yeah, it's Smuggler's Run. It's got something else to it. Pacific Rift or something like that.
No, it's Motorstorm you're thinking of, isn't it?
It might be Motorstorm. I can't remember.
Yeah. No, because Smuggler's Run was on the PlayStation. There's 2 games on PlayStation 2, and I think there was one or two on the GameCube.
Are you sure it made it to PS3?
I don't think it did. Motorstorm, I think, is the one you're thinking of because when that came out, it was an original racing game. I think there'd been a previous game on the PlayStation 2. I couldn't it was something like Arctic Thunder or something like that. And then it wasn't expected to generate much interest as a launch title. But I tell you something, when I got my PlayStation 3 and it wasn't on launch, it was after you got yours. that was one of the first games I picked up, and I was very impressed with it.
Oh, I always thought it was Smuggler's Run. There you go. Shows you my bad memory of where I was down the pub. Is it similar to Smuggler's Run? I know
no, because Smuggler's Run is based around sort of smuggling, isn't it?
Well, no.
But MotorStorm is purely sort of like an off-road racer, and there was a sequel. You said Pacific Rift. There was a sequel called Pacific Rift to it.
Yeah, must be MotorStorm then.
Yeah.
I don't even know my own gaming history. But yeah, that was a launch title, and if it was that MotorStorm.
Yeah, I think MotorStorm was a launch title, so I think you probably you've got your games mixed up, but we know what you're talking about. Yeah,
there was 2 others, but I can't remember what they were for the life of me. I can't remember at all. But I definitely had 3 games of it, a controller and the console for £600.
That's insane.
It's weird. It's like back then. I know it's like 15 years ago now, but you could walk into a store on launch day and buy the system. When will that ever happen?
I remember when I bought my GameCube, and that was on launch day. We pre-ordered that.
Yeah.
We went in there to pick it up. There was nobody in there.
Yeah. So
I could have my pick of whichever one I wanted.
Yeah. They didn't even have to pre-order it.
No queuing at midnight or anything like that, or having to sit there waiting for a website to open, so you might get a lucky opportunity to buy a PlayStation 5 in the next 35 seconds before they close the website down for another 6 months. Yeah, none of that rubbish.
Nah,
I'm off the shelf.
Well, my PS3 only got used to play one game really after the few that I got at the start with it. Can you guess what game I used to play on it?
What about all the games? Do I get a clue? No.
It would give it way too much.
What? I have no idea.
It's a series that's been going for like near on 30 years now. Comes out every year.
Oh, FIFA.
Yeah, FIFA.
That's a bit into it, yeah.
I just used to play FIFA on it. That was all it was there for. It was set up in the living room. I probably played it 5-6 hours a week just to play FIFA.
So £600 on a console to play FIFA all the time.
Well, I was still playing the PC games.
Well, that's fair enough, isn't it?
It's a drunken moment.
Yeah. Were you ever tempted when you got it? Did you ever think I've made a mistake buying this rather than the 360, for example, or were you?
No, because I managed to go around my nan's and all my PS1 games were still around there. So I was and obviously you could play the PS1 and PS2 games on it. So I was able to play my PS1 games as well, but then that died out quicker, and then I just got onto FIFA.
Because I know some. I had a dilemma. And I bought mine years later about do I buy the 360 or the PlayStation 3. So I know that you sometimes have to weigh the pros and cons of it, but I suppose really in that way, from your point of view, it's a no-brainer. Really, if all my old PlayStation 1 games can play fine, and I'll just, it's absolutely perfect for that.
Yeah, I think it's one of them things as well. I didn't really know the Xbox because I hadn't been around for the PS2 era, so I never knew about the original Xbox. Obviously, I knew the 360 had come out around the same. I think the 360 come out just before the PS3.
That's right, he did. Yeah.
So, but because I had the PS1 and I was a PlayStation fan, I think you find a lot of like Sega go on to PlayStation. So it was like a no-brainer. Here's the PS3. I'm going to get it. Plus, my mate was buying one, and because you could play online back then and all that, we was going to hook it all up and play online with each other. And like you sitting in the pub having a few beers talking about this, and then it happens. And I don't think we've ever played a game online together at all. We've played houses, but I don't think we've ever played online.
Yeah, you look at all that. So you can do this with it, you can do that with it. You never actually ever, it's a selling point to buy it, and then you go, oh yeah, we've never actually done that ever.
Yeah, it's one of them things.
What's your opinion? Are you a fan of it, or because I know some people don't like it?
What, the PS3?
Yeah, it does. Some people prefer the 360 over it.
It's big. To be honest, now I'll probably play the 360 one with the PS3, but that's only because I'm trying to get the achievements.
Yeah.
I think the achievement things like what Microsoft nailed down to $1,000 rather than like trophies. Because like trophies are all right, but it's not like you've got a few trophies that don't matter. Whereas this one, you've got 900 G out of 1,000. I need to get that last 100 to round it up.
But the thing is, to me, achievements and trophies and gamer score points have never actually mattered to me. So, from my point of view, I agree what you say, because a lot of people do use that as an example to say that's the reason I don't like PlayStation 3. But to me, that's not it. I said before, my PlayStation 3 was always used for other purposes. It was used as the Blu-ray player, and then be able to run the media server through everything, and then there's a games console primarily sort of third place.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the PS3 has got one of the best controllers that was ever made.
I've been a massive fan of all the PlayStation controllers 1 through to 4.
Yeah,
they are the best.
I think the PS3 one, the size and shape of it, is the best one. Because although the PS4 ones are good, they're still a little bit big. Whereas the PS3 ones fit perfectly in your hand.
PlayStation 4 ones look a little bit funny.
Yeah.
They don't look quite like... I mean, I like the look of the old DualShock PlayStation 1. And I agree about PlayStation 3. I think they're probably the best ones of the lot. Fours are okay, but they're a bit...
You don't need it that big, do you? You just... Why do you need all this extra space when you can make it simple? It fits in your hand.
And it's quite heavy as well. I didn't realize how heavy it was until I was given one the other day, and I thought this feels really weighty, way more than I expected. I remember it. I don't know. So
well, because like the size of it, and like where you're moving your thumb around so much, if you're moving it that split second longer to move to a button, because it's a little bit further away than the PS3 one, where it's literally in your palm of your hand, you can literally just like click, 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 click. And you're saving milliseconds. I know it don't sound a lot, but if you're playing some of these games that people play, like these Dark Souls and stuff like that, I know Jordy, if he's listening, he'll understand it completely. If you're hitting that button a millisecond before someone else, you're going to get the kill rather than them killing you. So
and then that's the difference, isn't it? So
yeah. Whereas I know people say about like the N64 controller, but that will take so long to hit them buttons.
Don't talk to me about the N64 controller. It's one of the worst things ever created.
Yeah,
it's cheese and juice nightmare. It really is. I just don't know how they came up with that concept and said, "Yeah, this is the best thing we could go up with."
Yeah,
look at it. Look at it. It's terrible.
Yeah, it'd be all right if it didn't have that middle bit. You just had the two sides. And the button around there in like hands reach, fingertips reach, rather than having to move from the middle stick to hold the right stick to hit the analog buttons and stuff like that, and buttons.
Yeah,
having to move back to the middle.
you see, like a lot of people, I have two hands, and when I'm playing with that controller, I believe I need a third.
Yeah,
and you shouldn't feel like that, or I should have an octopus as a friend who can come and play the games for me. It's just a bit silly, really.
I think they've made some like fan made one. It might even be 8-bit duo that do them. They've made N64 controllers, which are more like a normal standard controller rather than the N64 style ones, just to make it a little bit easier for you.
The question is, would that feel right playing an N64 game?
Probably not.
No, I'd be torn on that one, because you should be playing the games as they were meant to be, as opposed to doing it that way. Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. You lose a button doing that as well, because you won't have the back trigger button.
Yes, that's the one underneath at the back. Yeah. 3.5 hands that's gone up to now, rather than 3. So from your PlayStation 3, you then sort of get moving on again and upgraded to your next console, which was
the PS4.
PS4.
So it made sense going from PS3 to PS4. So I got the PS4 very late. I probably picked it up around 2017, maybe even 2018.
I got mine. I got mine in 2017, so it wasn't overly late.
Yeah, it was like I had the PS3 and I was playing on the PS3, and everyone was like, "Oh, come on, move on to the PS4. We can play online on the PS4." And as you do, you buy it and then never do again.
You fell for that one again.
Yeah. But it weren't so bad because I bought a second-hand one off eBay. I think it cost me about 120 quid with a couple of games, just a bulk standard 500 gig. Not the Pro or anything like that. And I've still got it now. It's still doing its job. It works fine. It does all it needs to do. And yeah, I've got that. I've got FIFA as you always do. Got into Ultimate Team. Spent hours playing Ultimate Team. And got bored of playing Ultimate Team, and now don't bother.
So what got me with that as well? You got the 500. I think mine's 500 as well. But when I loaded, because mine came with FIFA 18, so when that uploaded to the hard drive, and how big the bloody 50 gigs that game was. I thought that's a tenth of the drive gone already.
That ain't nothing. I put Red Dead in, Red Dead Redemption 2, and it was about 120 gig, which seems a lot. But then when you've got someone like Sean who's playing Warzone on it, and it's updating like 150 gig, and you're thinking that's like nearly half the system gone.
That's half it gone, yeah. Because when I bought a 360 second hand, sorry, you know, sort of looking around, I thought, well, I remember speaking to somebody about it, and I said, well, you know, what sort of size am I looking for on a hard drive? And it was like, oh, well, if you want to play this game, it's like you'll be fine. But if you want to play this game, then you got absolutely no chance. So I was trying to buy, you know, a cheap Xbox 360.
Yeah. And
I thought, well, I don't need a big hard drive on it, and apparently I did need a big hard drive on it because half the games wouldn't go on it. So I thought, oh, that's why I left it a few years after that, and then I bought a 500 gig one. So,
well, I've got the 500 gig one, and like I've barely touched the surface.
Yeah. I could have probably got, I don't know, they're 20 or 60 or something. I could have probably got a 60 gig one and been very happy with it. Yeah, I think there was that was that dirt cheap one. Was it the 4 gig? Was that the arcade one?
I think they do. Is it a 4 gig one? Yeah, I think it is the 4 gig one. Yeah.
Yeah, and
4 gig, 20, 60, 250, and 500.
500, yeah. So look at initially look at the 4. I thought, God, they're cheap. And then someone said, yeah, but it's only 4 gigs.
Yeah.
So, you know, something like, you know, a decent, half decent game with data on it, you'd fill the hard drive with it.
Who plays them? I don't know if I've used 4 gig in total, and I've put loads of games on it.
Yeah, I probably could have got away with it. Yeah. But then again, if I bought one, I probably wouldn't have got away with it. So you never know. Yeah. Do you have much in the way of PlayStation 4 stuff? Have you collected actively for it, or?
I've probably got near on 300 games for it now.
300 games. The reason I ask this question is because people may not be aware of your collection. So
yeah,
I know you have got a fair few, but I mean, I didn't realize you got as many as 300. That's insane.
They just keep coming. I just keep picking up cheap ones, and they just keep adding to it.
What's the size of the library for the PS4?
Oh, it's ridiculous. It's like 4,000 or something, 5,000.
So you're tenth of the way. You're 10% nearly.
Yeah, and that ain't even like counting like the limited stuff. And obviously it's region free, so you can probably count the American and Japanese, and takes up to about 15,000, I reckon.
Yeah, well, you've only got 40% more to go, and then you'll be at the halfway point, and then you have to go for the full set then.
Yeah, that's it. It's going that
way. Most collections go that way, don't they?
I'll just be out and about in CEX or Game or places like that, and I'll be like, "Oh, this game looks good. It's only £2. I'll buy that." And then before you know it, you bought another 10 games, and then you bought another 20 games, and then you're looking online. And I use the game collection, if anyone don't know about that. And they sell modern games, but they're all brand new, and they're a lot cheaper than like CEX. A hell of a lot cheaper, and obviously you'll get it brand new.
The game collection, I haven't heard of that one.
You don't know the game collection? Oh, you have to have a look at that. You can pick up brand new PlayStation 4 games for like $1.95.
Right, I'm in now. You've hit the magic word there. Yeah. $1.95. That's good.
This is if anyone watches my pickups videos, this is where most of my PS4 stuff comes from. If you see a sealed game on there, it's come from the game collection.
Well, once we finish this, hopefully before midnight, I'll go and have a look at that and see what I can find, because I mentioned my PS4 collection, and that would be a good way of doing it.
They do a lot of Switch games on there really cheap as well, but you have to be careful there, because a lot of them they're stopping selling like the physical ones now. A lot of them you go on there and it's code in box.
Yeah, that's what puts me a little bit off about some of the Switch stuff I've seen, because I've seen them online. I think, oh yeah, that I've been after, or that game's caught me eye previously. Because although I always say I don't play modern games, I do keep my eye on modern games and what's out there, and I do see a lot of games. Oh, I'd like to play that, but I'm not going to. I can't justify buying it.
Yeah.
And so when I see a lot of these now with the code in them, because a mate of mine at work, his son's got a Switch, and he was saying, "Oh, these games are changed now; they're not like they used to be." He said, "You just get a piece of paper with a code on it."
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, that's put me off now buying any more Switch games, but obviously that's not always the case.
It's putting me off getting like all the ones that are cheap on the game collection. I own them all now, but like 6 months ago they never had like coding box in there, and you used to go on there and buy Switch games for like $3.95. Unheard of. Like a brand new Switch game for $3.95. So now you go on there and it says $3.95, and in brackets it says coding box, and you're like, oh, that's why.
I can't remember which way. Eddie pointed one out to me a couple of months back, and he was saying, "Oh, it's only this price now." And I was like, "Oh, great!" And he said, "Yeah." And then when I went to look at it, it was a code in box, and I thought, "Oh, I don't really want that." Yeah. And then I looked at the actual sort of physical game, and it was like £10 more. I thought, "Oh,
it's like over double the price." It's like, "Oh, I won't bother." But yeah, that's what put me off. But yeah, do check that out, because. On there, I still pick up PS4 games under £10 on there, but all like the £2-3 ones, I own them all. So they do drop them down quite a bit on there.
But as you say, because they're so cheap, and you were saying that, usually I sort of point round here, and you can see exactly the reason why we fill games rooms like this.
Yeah,
I'm being visual because people can't see it. But you're absolutely right, because they're cheap. You know, why would you turn down the prices on some of these if it's £1? As far as I'm concerned, you know, £1 or 50p or a tenner or whatever. If you're happy to pay that,
if you're getting a Switch game under £10, you've got a bargain. If you're getting any game under £1, you're getting a bargain.
Yeah.
No matter what system it is, even if it's a Wii game, if it's under £1. In 5 years' time, are you going to get that game for £1? Probably not, because it's probably one that no one wanted to buy, and it's going to be worth £10.
Well, I will say that there's games that I've got that I bought under £1, which are no longer that cheap.
Yeah,
and they have been above the £1, £52 mark for quite some time, and have stayed there. There's stuff there that I bought for 75p, which is still 75p.
Yeah,
and I've always said, if I can buy something for 75p and sell it for 75p, I'll get my money back. If it's worth £2.50 now, then I've made £1.75. And if I've got 50 games like that, then
it's a lot of money.
You know, I'm on my way to 70, 80, 90 quid just by doing it. No, people laughing at, you know, we talk about the power of these Hannah Montana games, but if people are going for full sets or
horse games,
horse games. People laugh at me for horse games, but tell you, My Horse and Me 2 is on the rise on the Wii. It's nearly a tenner now.
Oh, I've got that. I found that for £1 in a charity shop.
Yeah. Now the one that everyone talks about, the 360 version of that, which used to be about 70 odd quid.
Yeah, that's coming down.
That's now dropped a foot just below 50 now. That.
Yeah.
So that one's come down a little bit, where the Wii one's now beginning to go up.
Go up.
Yeah, and people laughed at us.
I know.
They still do.
We'll be laughing in a few years' time, don't worry.
You never know. Yeah. How did you make your fortune? Oh, yes, I copied My Horse and Me 2 on the Wii, which sold last week for £3 million at Sotheby's.
Yeah.
And I paid £1 for it in CEX. As I'm sitting there lighting a giant cigar with £100 notes, you know. Oh dear. It may happen one day, I doubt it, but we can dream, can't we?
You never know.
Let's get back to the other games on your favourite list.
Okay.
Because we moved it around a little bit. So we've got 3 different games and 3 different sort of genres. So if you want to start with the oldest one first.
So I'll pick the NES game.
And I like this choice. I like it.
Yeah,
It's good.
It's another one I've told people they need to play. It's one I need to put more time into myself as well. But yeah, it's Gunsmoke, which is a top-down run and gun game.
Love this game. I think I think I came across it originally years and years and years ago, because I'm not sure whether it was on the Nintendo 10 Play, which you may or may not remember was like an arcade machine. You could pick 10 from 10 Nintendo games to play on it.
Yeah.
But I always remember seeing the box as well in the shops, and it always looked much more interesting than any other games that was on other systems I had.
We cowboy with a gun in his hand.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing that appeals to you. I think it's a great little game. I really do.
It is. It's brilliant. So, if anyone hasn't played it, you play as a cowboy in the Western days, and it's a top-down run and gun. So you're moving up the screen, and enemies come at you with guns. You've got to move from side to side and shoot them. And the only way you can progress is when you've killed enough enemies, which I didn't know when I first used to play. I used to try dodging them and stuff, and just kept shooting barrels to get extra bonus points. And then before I knew it, I'm like, why have I just going around? It just literally loops. It's just the same bit over and over again. And I'm like, I've already played this. This is like the fourth time now. What's going on? And then I realised you have to kill all the enemies before it can move on.
There's a similar thing in Operation Wolf as well, which when I first played it, I couldn't quite understand that as well. And it gives you on the right-hand side, it tells you how many people you need to kill, how many number of vehicles you need to take out, how many helicopters you need to take out. And you're sort of wondering, why is this still going on? Why is everything sort of slowed down to something very, very little? And then you actually realise what you're meant to be doing.
Once you finally get the hang of that, I don't think there's many levels on it. I haven't actually completed it because it gets quite hard further on when you're getting like 10 enemies coming at you at once. And you can upgrade your weapon on there. You get like a shotgun and stuff, but none of them really seem to do much damage. But yeah, they need like a machine gun on there so you can just take them all. That'd be a bit unrealistic being a Western game.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I've seen the Wild Bunch all those years ago. The film.
Yeah, like Tommy gun.
Did they have machine guns back then? I remember the
Tommy gun for like the gangster side of me. I don't know.
Yeah, I was just trying to remember. I mean, the end of that film is particularly, well, at the time anyway, was very controversial for how sort of much blood there was in it and the violence in it. But I'm pretty sure they had a machine gun. So they may have had machine guns at some point in the Wild West, but
never seen the movies. I wouldn't know.
Have you not? Oh, it's a classic, mate. You've got to see the Wild Bunch. Yeah, definitely got to see that one.
Wild Bunch. Knew I brought a pen and paper for some reason. But I written down. I have to have a look for that. Wild Bunch. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm assuming it's an arcade game.
I think it was. I definitely think there's some connection to the arcade.
I think a lot of Nintendo games were arcade games. It's actually made by Capcom. I know I said I don't look at makers very much unless they're like the top ones. So again, Capcom, if you're looking at back then, like a Capcom game, they made good games. You weren't getting a bad Capcom game because they used to only work on a few at a time.
That's right.
They'd only put them out when they were ready. And especially the NES, there's not really many NES games because obviously Nintendo only let them put out so many games a year, so you couldn't just put loads of rubbish games out and then work on one good one. They had really high standards.
Yeah, because I think about Ghosts and Goblins and obviously the Street Fighter games. Bionic Commando is one of the Capcom games, I think.
Yeah, I think it is.
Was I think Karnov. Might be wrong on that one. But I'm just trying to think of the games I remember sort of going back. But yeah, you're right. It's it's a name you recognise. I think you're right. I think it must have been an arcade game at some point because I don't think Capcom weren't developing for just straight home systems.
The way it's designed, like the way it plays, you'd think it's an arcade game.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
The screen comes down. You're at the bottom of it with your character. Run and gun. It's one of them like shooter style games. You're thinking, oh yeah, this probably was an arcade game at some point.
It has that feel to it.
Yeah, it does feel very arcadey. I have got an arcade stick on the NES. Maybe it's one of them ones that I need to get the arcade stick out and play it on. I've not tried it yet.
Might be worth a go. You might finish it. You never know.
I wouldn't go that far. I'm not that good at game.
Is this a game? Is this a game you found collecting, or is it something that you knew about beforehand?
I never had a NES up until a couple of years ago. Well, 3 years ago now. I think 4 years ago. I'm trying to think because where it's like you think about your channel and you think, oh yeah, a couple of years ago. I'm thinking, well, I had it well before I started my channel. And it's a system I've got a full set for, and I finished the set before lockdown. So yeah.
I have the same issue. You know, my entire 360 collection is on YouTube because I bought a 360 about 2 months after I started doing proper video pickups and what have you. So it's got my entire Wii U collection is on YouTube. It's really weird.
So yeah, I come across it because obviously when you're collecting a NES game, you don't know if they're going to work or not with cartridge-based stuff. So every time you get a game, you put it in and give it a test. And I put it in, I started playing it, and I couldn't stop. I must have put a couple of hours in, like trying just testing it, and like it then become one of the games on the system. Like, oh, if I'm going to put a game in, this is the game I'm putting in.
As you said earlier, it drags you in, doesn't it? It's that instant hook, and
I feel like although there's a lot of good games on the NES, I feel there's only a couple that like drag you in, and that's definitely one of them. So if anyone listening hasn't played that, they need to give it a try.
They do. And I think you hit the nail on the head about the system as well, because it's never been a system I've got on with.
No.
But over the last sort of 12 months, I picked up some, well-known titles for it, and I appreciate it a bit more now. In fact, I played a bit more off emulation, NES games off emulation now. Not for any particular reason, or the fact that I haven't really given it a lot of time because I've never liked the console. And then I found myself playing 1940, I think it was 1942 for about an hour, and just having one more go. It's a tricky shooter as it is, but I don't know whether the NES version is a particularly good version. I don't know, but I thought, this is quite good. And then I made a mistake.
UK one, so.
And then I made a mistake of playing Days of Thunder about 2 games after that. And that made me think, this is pretty shit. But Days of Thunder was like that on every single system. It was a terrible game. So that's Gunsmoke. Now we touched on strategy earlier, and we've been sort of dancing around this one. And this will probably help explain your strategy interest.
This is the one where we're going to be here till midnight now.
Let's see if we can keep it down to a little bit less than that, if we can. I'll sort of wave at you, or sort of put a flag up, or so. If you hear snoring coming from the microphone, then you know what it is. No, I'm joking. See, this is the joy of doing something like this. This is you talking about games that you are passionate about, that have a significant moment in your gaming history, your gaming life. And this is what we give you the platform to do it.
This is the game that took me off of console gaming into PC gaming.
which is a good bridge. Go on, put them out there, Misery.
So the game I've picked out of all the series, there's quite a few of them, is Command & Conquer Red Alert Retaliation on the PS1, which was the third third Command & Conquer game released for the PS1 and last.
So I've got the first one. I didn't have it at the time, but
have you got the just Command & Conquer, the original one?
Just the first one, yeah.
Yeah, which is okay. But that's just mission based. When you move over to Red Alert, they brought in this thing called Skirmish, which then completely become a game changer. If anyone don't know what Skirmish is, it basically you can set a map up, you pick the map, and you can set up between 2 and 8 players, and it's a free for all battle. So obviously, going off from that is what took me onto the PC gaming, because playing against the computer is not the same as playing against a real person. So
okay, yeah.
But the reason I've picked Retaliation out of the 3 games on the PS1 is because the Retaliation has 99 different maps for the skirmish mode, whereas I think Red Alert has 12.
90. So that's a big step up, then, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of maps. Plus, there's extra units in the Retaliation which you never got in the others, which make it a lot easier to win or harder if you're up against them, depending on what you are. But it basically started off with the original Command and Conquer as being the Brotherhood of Nord versus the Allies. And then once it turned to Red Alert, they went, right, we're going to make this more realistic. So it's basically the UK or Europe versus the USSR. So yeah, it's Europe versus Russia.
Right. Okay.
So it probably got
if in doubt, go back to the old favourites.
Yeah, it probably got into a lot of controversial stuff because of that. But it made it good. But then obviously you pick like your different teams have different units on them. So I was always the UK or England on there. They weren't the UK, it was England.
Mm.
Yeah, I was always England. I was always blue, and we always used to pick fights with the Russians. But it's one of these few games that comes with 2 discs. So
yes, yeah,
and it's in a slim case rather than it never got a double case release, even though it's got 2 discs.
Oh, did it not? Okay, so it's not actually a double case collection.
Yeah, the original one got a double case, but Red Alert never. It's one of them,
yeah.
got the bit that holds the discs on the cover inside.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is, but it's got the 2 discs in a slim case. So yeah, it's got obviously one is red and one is blue, which is obviously one for the USSR and one for the Allies, which is Europe.
Mm.
So like France, England, Germany.
That must be really annoying if you're trying to get a double case collection, and that one sort of sticks out like a sore thumb because although it's a double discer, it's not in that sort of box.
I don't know. There's a couple like that, but it doesn't bother me because unless you opened it up, you wouldn't know. You just think, it's just a normal single case game.
Yeah, but where would you put it with your other doubles, or would you put it on?
It's in with the singles. It's in with the singles.
Well, yeah, I suppose you would do.
It's just because it's nice because it looks the same.
It would look nice with the other one, yeah.
But obviously, the double cased one, the original one, isn't with the other 2. It's separate because that's in the double case bit, which is annoying because I wanted all 3 together. But
did you have the mouse for it?
I did. I've recently just got one back.
I picked one of my car boot years ago, so I got PlayStation had a mouse, and I'm like, why did the PlayStation have a mouse? Because I've got no games to play with a mouse.
I know.
I thought I'll just have it. It's curious.
You know how much easier it makes that game if you've got a mouse.
Well, it's good, isn't it? It's like people try and understand how to play something like the Championship Manager with an Xbox controller.
Yeah,
it's like how would you be able to do that? But it does actually work really, really well. Same with the 2006-7 on the Xbox 360. It does work really well. But Command and Conquer would automatically be better with a mouse.
Yeah, well, it never come out on the PC really until like the Red Alert era.
Mm.
And then like because it was a console based thing, and then like they thought, you know what, everyone's using a mouse to play. Let's just get this on PC. Let's bring in more maps. Let's bring in multiplayer. Let's bring in 12 players rather than 8. And then it went from there. And it's like they made the maps bigger. They made the difficulty harder. I think they even made like championships where people used to battle each other to see who was the best in the world and stuff like that. It became a big thing.
I think you're right. They did. Yes, I remember something like that. I mean, they do that now anyway, don't they? With other sort of strategy-based games.
Yeah, so. I think it's like a pioneer. Without this, there wouldn't be half the strategy games there are now.
Mm.
I think because people realised how good this was, and like people still play it today.
And I think it sort of elevated the strategy game as well, because probably to that point of the limited experience I had playing games like that, it was all a bit basic. Yeah. So going to the consoles or the PC or the combination of both lifted that game to another level. Have you played any of the games since? Because I've got other Command and Conquer games that I've picked up again because they've been cheap.
Yeah. The console ones after the PS1 ain't that good. Obviously, they brought out Red Alert 3. Then you've got Red Alert 3 Tiberian Wars and Red Alert 3 Kane's Raft. I think are the three they brought out. They're the only other 3 games they brought out on a console. But they just don't have... They've tried to make it too graphical and same as what they've done with the Sims route, rather than like, here's a strategy game, basic, top down, get on with it. They've done one of them's in space, so they've tried to go too futuristic with it, rather than going, here you go, here's an army, you control it, which is why the Red Alerts I think Red Alert 2 on the PC is probably the best. But
how many games were there altogether?
There's quite a bit. They're mainly all on the PC. So you've only got the 6 on the consoles. But then you've got things like Generals. You've got the Red Alert has got so many of the add-on discs. You've got like Aftermath. I can't remember what the other ones are. I've got most of them sitting behind the computer here in my PC section. The doors closed. I can't go to open it. But yeah, like Generals is probably the best, because that was like, they made it probably early 2000s style army, rather than like all these futuristic 3000 stuff like that. But it's made by the same people who made June.
Oh yes.
Played that.
I've heard about it, and I've never actually played it.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's very basic, but it took them a while to make Command and Conquer after that. But then once they did, it just shot out like, all over the world. Play it.
Yeah.
And like I say, it's one of these games that are still played now. I believe Red Alert 2 out of all of them is probably the most played on the PC. I know Red Alert 1 got the remake or remaster, whatever you want to call it, but I didn't bother buying it because it was just a piece of paper, code in box. They never made a physical game for it. Who's going to pay £100 for a collector's edition without a game in it?
I can think of one person who might.
Well, yeah, there's probably a couple that might.
Well, it's a very recognisable name, Command and Conquer, within the world of gaming. People, you probably, if you had a list of 100 of the most recognisable names to do with gaming, that would be on that list without too much doubt, really. But I mean, like I say, it's great to hear you're passionate about it, and there will be, and I know there are other people I know who would be fascinated with what you said there and agree with you all the way through. And I don't think it's convinced me that I want to go back and play them.
No,
which isn't a bad thing. But like I said, I have got a couple of 360 ones, and I've got the original PlayStation one. But if it's, some people sat there and go, I don't know, that sounds quite good. I didn't realise there was more than one game in that particular series, and they'll go back and have a go at it. So, your passion for that's coming through, and if people can, relate to that, then if anybody does go and revisit those games, then you've done your job, really.
Yeah.
Right then, so on to your final game.
Yeah, this is the one I'm hoping I can convince you to buy.
I want to buy it.
Yeah, I think you need to.
I do, because this is a game which I think is right up my street.
Yeah. There was 2 I was going to pick. I couldn't decide between the 2. The other one I've spoke about a lot. This one I haven't spoke about, so I'll pick this one.
Mm-hmm. And this was a game that I thought that, I got a game for Christmas. People know I'm going to talk about, and I wasn't quite sure why I got it, but I remember automatically thinking, I wish it had been the other one.
Yeah.
With the second word in the title. If it'd been the other one, I've been absolutely chuffed. I wasn't chuffed to get the game I got, but that other one appeals to me more, which is what you're going to say now as your final choices of your favourite games, number 6 on your list.
Yeah.
It's taken us 2.25 hours to get there, but it is.
It's for the PlayStation 4, and it is Shovel Knight.
It is Shovel Knight, yeah. Go on then, sell it to me.
It's a 2D side-scrolling platformer, very retro styled. very basic.
That's 3 box ticks so far.
Very hard.
Very hard. Hard. Oh, dear.
Yes. I've actually beat this game. It's probably easy until you get to the end, because at the end you have to beat all the bosses in order before you fight the final boss. So all the bosses you've beat throughout the game so far all come back one after the other, and you get no health between the lot of them. So you have to beat all of them in order, and then you get to fight the final boss.
That sounds like that would break me in many ways.
It nearly broke me. I don't often rage at games, but this one, especially like when you've beat them all and then you get to the boss and then die at them, like the final boss, and then you've got to go back and beat all of them again.
Yeah, I can almost sense the frustration now just listening to that and thinking, how would I react to it? Yeah, I probably would do exactly the same thing by swearing very loudly and throwing stuff across the room. It's probably one of the reasons why I don't play games like that.
But it's great replayability on it, and there's 4 different characters. I say I beat the game. I beat the game with Shovel Knight. I still need to beat the game with the other 3. So you get to play as the bad guys on it as well, rather than just the good guys, which is something different. That's a
different way of doing it. Yeah.
I don't know how they play, because I haven't played as any of the other ones, but like I say, I've only played as Shovel Knight, and it's different because his weapon is a shovel, and you attack people by jumping up in the air and standing on the shovel and landing on their head.
See, I like that. That works for me. I'm a bit of shovel-related deafness.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy with that.
It's brilliant. People need to play
it. When I first saw it, I thought, "Oh, I like the look of that." Straight away, as soon as I saw it, I thought, "Oh, I like the look of that." And I always completely forget about it. But no, it's definitely one I want to get in at some point. So I'm gonna make a concerted effort to try and find it now.
I want to hear you when you've beaten all these bosses in a row.
If I beat one, mate, you'll be hearing about it. I won't shut up about it for months.
Oh, you got to beat the final boss.
Well, let's start with the first one first of all, and you'll see my euphoria as I go through each particular one. It might take me some time to do it. It might take me 12 months, but I don't know. It'll be worth it. But yeah. No, I didn't know that about sort of the way you finish it. That sounds brutal. That does. Yeah. That sounds really brutal.
Yeah. So not only have you gone through the other 6 levels, beating all the boss on all of them, now you got to beat all the bosses on the 7th level and fight the final boss.
Just on an aside to that, do you think this is when they developed the game? And we talked earlier about sort of games being harder back then, that they've gone for this complete retro approach to it.
Yeah,
and they sort of take the Ghosts and Goblins route, where if you don't do it properly, they have to go all the way back to the start, so you don't see the proper ending. Yeah,
it probably is. It's like, because they could just put the final boss in, and we probably beat him without having to fight the others. So it brings out another strategy style thing, because now because each boss has different ways of killing them, and then you've got to try and remember one after the other. Then so as soon as you kill one, the next one appears straight away. It's like, oh.
So it's like a muscle memory type thing as well.
Yeah, because obviously they will move in different ways, or they will have different attacks. So you've got to remember them all, where they're going to move to, what they're going to do. It's
that's very old.
It would probably take me a while to figure out how to do it again, because I haven't played it for so long.
It'll be good practice, but yeah, that sounds very, very old school. I like that. I should put myself for the punishment of doing it. But it's the most modern game on your favourite list anyway.
Yeah, well, it's probably more retro than some of them.
I think, joking apart, I think you're absolutely right. That is exactly what it is. And again, if you look at those 6 games there, you've got obviously a mixture of all sorts of genres. You've got shoot 'em ups. You've got, let's say, a top-down run and gun. You've got strategy. You've got your Pokemon game as well for all those business.
Platformer,
yeah. I mean, it's a wide variety.
If you're going to be on an island and you only bring out so many games, why bring out 6 of the same ones? What are going to be similar?
why why pull out Sonic 1, 2, and 3 and Sonic and Knuckles and then
they're all the same
Sonic
game.
Sonic Generations and Sonic Mania? They're all they're all the same game.
That's it. That's what I wanted
you want to be annoyed you packed a copy of Sonic Spinball or Sonic Unleashed and go, how the hell did that get in there? I packed the wrong one. Anyway, let's look at the last sort of two items, which is we'll talk about the game that you hate. We're gonna finish on that one. They're gonna leave people something to remember this one by. I tell you.
Don't lose too early.
Yeah, that's it. We'll save to the very end. They can go. Oh goodness sake, turn off. If you want to scan ahead and try and find that, you may want to. But we're going to talk about the one game, which is it's sort of the bit of the oddball, really. It's a game which you may have played previously, you couldn't get on with it, or you want to put some more time into it, or you started but you never got round to playing properly and started something else, or you bought and you never played it. And again, I can see a good reason for picking this one. Yes. And knowing your history with the early games in this series, and that hilarious set of videos that you did last year. Was it last year you did them, or the year before?
No, last year.
Yeah. So
during lockdown, I had nothing else to do.
It kept a lot of people very amused. That did. That was really good.
A lot of people asked me to bring it back. Maybe I'll bring it back with this game.
I think you should. I think you should do. I honestly, as you said earlier, your Mega Drive Mondays, the response to gameplay that got, and that was a good series. That no reason to bring this one back and give us all something else to laugh at, because we did get a lot of fun with it. So the game we sort of took more time, want to revisit, play again, never played properly, didn't give it enough go in the first place, is
Gran Turismo Sport, or Gran Turismo 7, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, now I must be honest with you, until the other day I didn't know this game actually existed.
Yeah.
I happened to see it out the corner. I can't remember where I was now. I had to see the corner. I thought, it was a Gran Turismo game on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
I didn't realise there was.
It's the only one.
That's okay. Then I've missed too many.
Go
on, sorry.
You think like every other system, like they've brought out 2 or 3 different ones. You think there's the 1 and 2 on the PS1. There's 3, I think, on the PS2. Then they started doing the prologue ones. I think there's 4 on the PS3.
Well, you've actually got on the PlayStation 2. You've got Gran Turismo 3A spec.
Oh yeah.
Then you've got Gran Turismo 4 and 4 prologue.
Oh, so there's
on the
4
PlayStation
on the PS4. And then because there's another one. There's 2002 Concept Tokyo or something.
That's right, yeah. Which I don't think I've got that one.
I'm missing the prologue for 3 then, or 4, whatever it was.
Yeah. And then 5 there on the PlayStation 3. There's Gran Turismo 5. There's a prologue for that as well, isn't there?
Yeah. And then 6. I think there's a 6 prologue as well.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of them. But
in the series, but then they stopped on Sport. They never brought another because it come out early in the PS4 lifestyle, and they never done it because it's one of the games I've got when I got my console like online. So it's still a good 4 or 5 years old. So you'd think that they would have brought another one out by now, considering it's like their series is a PlayStation exclusive. It's that you'd think they'd bring more out. I think they're actually re-releasing Sport on the PS5 rather than making a new one.
Doesn't make sense, that.
Yeah. So it's going to be the same game, just on a new console.
Because when it first came out on the PlayStation 1, it was completely different to anything that we'd seen before. Yeah. And that was a gimmick, wasn't it? That was a gimmick behind it.
And then the second one come out and it was completely different again.
Yeah.
Because you could upgrade your cars, and you'd never seen that before.
I bought the first one when it came out, and I can't help but think I was disappointed with it because it was it wasn't. I always used to play arcade racing games.
Yeah.
So I'm the sort of person who likes to fly around corners at 90 miles an hour with my foot down. You can't do that on Gran Turismo because it's a realistic driving experience. The other thing I didn't like about it as well was the fact there was no damage on the cars.
Yeah, but they train you in this one. That's why they're bringing licenses.
Yeah, well, only for the amusement of everybody else. About 25 years after the game came out. But again, I haven't got that much interest in cars. Full stop.
Yeah.
To want to sit down and do that, I want to put on, Ridge Racer. That's the sort of thing I want to play. If it's a racing, or a Need for Speed Shift or Pro Street or whatever, I want to just race and very, very quickly and unrealistically. I don't want to sit there and try and drive a car properly. I'm not interested in that.
And earn money and buy a better car and whatever else.
No, not that. But I did get a lot of joy when I played 5 on the 5 on the PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
And the fact that the car I've got now was actually in that game. And it might have been 5 on the PlayStation 3. It might have been 6 on the PlayStation.
That'd have been on 3 as well.
Yeah, it might have been 6. And to be able to drive, my registration, my year of car around the Nürburgring and whatever was great fun. And then I got a lot of enjoyment out of doing that. And I thought, hang on a second, this game is now more arcade than it used to be. I've always enjoyed the series, but I just don't like that wanting to learn. If you're trying to teach me something, it's not fun.
You can get to the racing style that you want on these other games. You just got to earn it and buy the better cars.
So what's the selling point of Turismo Sport then? So why is it in this particular bracket for you?
It's a game I've got with a system.
Mm-hmm.
I played it for a bit. It's one of these ones that takes like 100 gig memory again. And I've bought newer games and then it ended up getting deleted because I didn't have the space, and that was the thing that went. And I never bothered reinstalling it. But I was really enjoying it when I was playing it because it does bring back more of that racing game rather than the first couple of games that they brought out. Because you're racing in more of the sporty cars now rather than just your Nissan Micra and stuff like that. Because obviously it's Gran Turismo Sport, so they were trying to get more of the racing side of things rather than just, here's some cars you can go down to the local dealer and buy.
Yeah.
So that's like more of a selling point to it. So you got to go drive around in a McLaren and Ferraris and stuff like that rather than your Nissan Skylines, which is what you used to buy back then to race. It was all you could afford rather than the sports cars. This one actually give you the sports cars that you wanted. Maybe this is the one you want because it is more of that racing style what you wanted.
Well, it doesn't have to be. I'm quite happy racing Nissan Micras around everywhere. I don't have to be fast. I just enjoy the racing aspect of it. I mean, whether it's a Micra or a Lamborghini, it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah. But
how fast it goes. If it's a race, it's a race.
Yeah, this takes it back to the more. Here's a racing circuit inside a stadium, go, rather than, here's some streets. It's more like that.
So it sounds a bit more like my sort of thing, really.
Yeah. You probably get it quite cheap as well, I reckon.
I should have to look into that because I don't play a lot of the games in the series, and I've enjoyed it more as it's gone on. Yeah. So this one sounds to me like I may actually enjoy this.
Yeah,
because I remember playing 6, and there were certain sort of tests you had to do, and you had to complete certain sections before you could move on, and you always found one bit that took you ages to get round. You couldn't quite get it done in time, and I think that's where I got stuck on it, and I thought, do you know what?
Yeah, give up.
I'll go and get something else and put that in instead. So
sounds like my series. couldn't do the final part of the license, so that would do. I'll just pretend I'm not playing that no more.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason I picked it was because I was looking through. I looked at the genres I had, and I thought, right, I haven't got a racing game in there. I thought I really like racing games. What one can I pick? And I thought, well, I've played all the other ones. I played this, I played that. And I thought, you know what? I've got Gran Turismo Sport. I played it 4 years ago when I got the system. Probably put 5 hours into it. Really liked it. Other games come out and it got deleted and never got reinstalled because it's really on these things. And I thought, you know what? If I'm stuck on a desert island and I fancy some racing games and I've got loads of time to play it, bam, there it is.
It's a good choice. It's a really good choice. And again, for entirely the right reasons. I mean, you could play the arcadey way. You can do your driving tests. We all know like you're doing your driving tests, and that's absolutely fine. So, and who knows? Maybe a copy of Gran Turismo 1 would wash up on the shore while you were there just by accident.
That's it. Yeah, you never know.
There's a lot of plastic in the sea, so there's a very, very good chance it could happen.
Yeah,
we never know.
Other games that people don't like, but have been launched into the sea, what could end up there as well? Who knows?
Yeah. Has anybody ever thrown a game into the sea they don't like? I'd like to know that.
Well, hopefully they've chucked the last one I'm going to say into the sea.
And knowing your luck, it'll wind up work. Yeah. Man, this is an interesting choice. I'm going to be interested to hear your reasons for this. I'm pretty sure most people will as well. I'm not a fan of this game at all, but I have my reasons, and I wouldn't say I hate this game. And I know we've had this game on before that people have sort of said it's one of their favourites. And again, I could understand the reasoning for it. Great. Because if I had the time to play it, I might get more in depth with it. So as always, we finish on the game that Al has, for some reason, ended up with us in the desert island, even though he can't quite understand why. Didn't pack his copy of FIFA by mistake. He picked this up by mistake, and it's gone in there. So, as the world is waiting to hear this and prepare to watch your sub count drop as you utter these fatal words. Fatal words.
I know there's a game a few people thought I was going to pick, which was Hollow Knight. It's not that.
Okay, right.
I was going to pick that. That nearly made the list, and I changed it at the last minute because I have spoke about this game that I don't like it on people's channels before, and I have put time into it, so it can't be that reason. I've just put it on for a few seconds and not liked it. I've put 2 or 3 hours into this, but the game I've picked is for the Switch, and it's The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, that's 10 subs gone already. I just see it happening. It's controversial. Can't say it's controversial. It's a surprising choice for which you now have the opportunity to defend yourself.
Well, who knows? Because I'm stuck on this desert island, I might learn to love it. Who knows?
It's the perfect game for it.
It felt like I was on a desert island when I was playing.
But your reasoning and justification for picking the other games is this game fits perfectly into that bracket. And when I played it, there was a certain sense of, do you know what, I could probably sit down and play this. I need to come back, but I ain't got time to do it.
Yeah, that is one of the main reasons, because I played it for near on 3 hours when I got to this bridge. And if anyone plays it, they know what is going on, right? I didn't realise that when you get to this, anything before this bridge is not actually the game. That's just like a tutorial. And when you're playing 3 hours of a tutorial,
yes,
how long is this game? So
I don't think I made it to the bridge.
Yeah,
I can't remember if I did or not.
It was that long ago. To find the sword.
I did a little bit better than that, but then it broke. That was your thing. Well, what's it broken for? What happened to it? Was it broken?
I thought that, 4 enemies caught me, and I killed 3 of them, and then the sword broke. I'm like, how do I kill this last one now? And I just had to run away from it. But people probably got to the bridge a lot quicker than me, but I was running around because I thought, Legend of Zelda, you need to explore. And I thought, you need to find everywhere part of this little island you're on to try and figure out if there's stuff hiding there that you need, like finding more swords and stuff like that. And I probably could have got to the bridge quicker if I would have known that was just a tutorial bit.
Yes, I know. Dear me. Yeah.
I've heard stories of people that have got to a desert or something, or grassland or something, and they've walked 2 hours before they've seen anything. And I'm thinking, who has time just to look at a screen for 2 hours? And nothing happens.
I've spoken to people who've gone up the mountains and spent a Saturday afternoon, on the Switch walking around the mountains, and nothing's happened. And I'm thinking
they could have spent that time to go down and do it in real life. Yes,
exactly. or climb a mountain and take your Switch with you and sit up the mountain and do that.
Yeah,
it's the way I see it is if people have got that amount of time to put into a game,
Yeah.
then that's great. And, maybe 20, 30 years ago, when I was younger, I might have had time to sort of sink 80, 90, 100 hours into a game or whatever it is. I just haven't got that time available to do it.
That's it.
And I think if I did, I probably wouldn't spend all that time playing that. I'd play it for a little bit, then go and do something else, and then I might come back to it later.
So I can understand why they've made it, and it is for someone. If you've got like a kid or something, and this is the only game they've got, and they're going to put hours into it, then yeah, I can understand why they've done it.
Mm.
Like growing up, we probably would have loved it because, like, if you've only got like a game at your birthday or a game at Christmas, and they give you one that you can finish in a couple of hours, you're going to go, oh, wow, and I put that down.
Yeah.
Whereas if they give you this, and it's going to take you 100, 200 hours, and you just carry on playing it, I can understand that. But like with the amount of games we've got sitting behind us, who has time for 2 hours just to walk across the field before they get to the next area?
Yeah.
I can understand how it, like, the people go, oh, but it looks beautiful, it looks this. I can understand that. Yeah, it does look good. I can't argue with that part. The game does look good. But who has time to sit down and watch their character walk across the field?
Yeah.
And a bird might fly over your head like once every 20 minutes. Wow.
Yeah. Technically and aesthetically, it is superb. But I think, you make a very good point there about the time, sort of, I can't remember. I'm guessing possibly this would have been Majora's Mask on the N64. I think it is. Maybe somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. But a friend of mine had that game on there, and he used to spend hours fishing on that game.
Yeah, it probably was that.
Yeah, he'd sort of take the boat out, and he'd spend hours fishing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I went to the pub with him the one night, and he said, "Oh yeah, I spent 6 hours fishing on." I said,
why?
Just sitting there. Yeah, just doing that. He was really good. I was like, what the hell?
I'm not sitting here slagging off Zelda games. Just because if you go back to like saying like Ocarina of Time with the puzzle sections in it and stuff like that, it's brilliant. But because you're always doing something. But whereas Breath of the Wild, if they had like, oh, you move for 5 minutes and then there's a puzzle to do and it's giving you something to do, then yeah, you're doing nothing. It's like, oh yeah, we've made this massive game. It's really open world. Oh, but there's probably only about 50 enemies in the whole game, and there's nothing to do in it other than walk around. It's like, wow, that you've made a game that people are just going to walk around on and not actually play. Yeah, brilliant.
It's a sort of an untowards advertisement for the Hyrule Tourist Board, I think, really, to try and get people to go there in trying to find a portal somewhere they can transport themselves across that different universe. Yeah, you're right in saying we're not slagging off Zelda games. It's just this particular one which is a bit. It does, it does. The people who love it. The people like you who don't like it. The people like me who haven't got the time to sit there and say, to play it properly, say, yeah, it's probably a really, really good game. If I could get into it, I'll get into it. But I just can't. I just can't get into it.
What we need is someone to do the 2 hours of walking, and then when it gets to a bit of action, hand it to us.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, we're trying to find a willing volunteer. Yeah, I'm sure there might be a few people out there who may wish to do that.
Yeah,
you never know. Well, so there we go. So that game's ended up on a couple of people's favourite lists, no doubt.
My worst, and
it's ended up on your worst. But yeah, no, and you've not said it. The other thing as well, Al, is you've not said it to be controversial. Yeah. You've made you back your comment up there with some valid points. And
well, now I'm sitting on this desert island with nothing to do. I've got these 2 hours to sit there and walk across nothing, so I might get into it. You never know.
But then you're on a desert island, so why not walk around the desert island in 2 hours?
It might be a small desert island, so I don't
know. Well, yeah, it depends. We're not quite sure where it is, you see. So and what the amenities are like, and
to charge all these systems and the TV.
It's a special island. You're all right. Yeah. We had that discussion on the pilot episode when we trolled this, and there's all that argument about has he got an internet connection? I don't bloody know. Use your imagination. And we'll finish on that one. And I mean that is your desert island games, and some fascinating stuff in there, mate. There really has been. I've enjoyed going to that. Some really surprising ones as well. It's been fascinating to hear your gaming history and how you got started. It's always good to hear that, because we will get to this point, don't we? It's, however we got there, slightly differently, and I've lost. You know, I know it's sad in a way, but the way your Mega Drive and your Game Boy went. We some people can relate to that, and you got into the PC gaming, and then you're buying a PlayStation 3 for that obscene amount of money. Yeah. I don't care how much money you have. That's an obscene amount of money to spend on a piece of kit like that.
You think it's more than a PS5?
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought that's horrendous amounts of money, even for 2005, 2006. What it is?
2006 at the time, yeah, something like that.
I mean, with inflation taken into account, it's got to be close to probably about £1,000 that they're the equivalent of.
Yeah.
Blimey.
Did get free games, though.
well, there you go. It's a bonus, isn't it? And again, that gaming list, there's so many interesting games on their different genres. It's been great, and I hope people can, if they never played those games before, take your recommendations up on that. And really, for me to finish on and saying I've really enjoyed this. We've gone massively over in terms of the time, near 2 3/4 hours. But I've enjoyed it, and as I said to you before we started, it's about the conversation flowing and you telling your story. That's what the platform's there for, and I think it's great. And I hope people now, sort of see that, because we all have, I have a reputation for buying cheap rubbish games, and you have a reputation for buying all these expensive games that nobody's ever heard of, and just because you want to get a full set and all that, and you buy games but you don't play them.
Yeah,
that's the other one that's you get sort of thrown at you. But from here, I hope people see that there's just more to that. There's more to Big Game Al than just doing that, and Al behind Big Game Al is a gamer like everybody else.
Yeah, because if they watch my pickups videos, after games I pick up, I can't even pronounce the titles of because I've got no clue what they are. I just buy them. So hopefully they've listened to this and actually think, oh yeah, he does know about games. He just don't know about these ones that he's buying because he hasn't played them.
Yeah. I think you've absolutely nailed that, and and I've got to say this has been an absolute pleasure. It really has been. Like I said, we do know each other personally. We have met before for the few hours it was. So that's a new experience for me. But I didn't know half this stuff that's come out here tonight, and that's why it's been so fascinating to do it. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. I'm so pleased we agreed to do this, and I hope people have enjoyed listening to it as well.
So do I. Thank you everyone for listening who stuck around this time. It hasn't clicked off after I said Breath of the Wild.
I said my guest this week is Big Game Al. Yeah.
If anyone's made it this far, thank you.
Well, people listen to it in chunks, or they listen to it in one go, or whatever. That's what it's there for. It's not to be listened to in one go. If people have it, it's a long car journey thing, or the perfect way to get people to sleep at night, one way or the other. It's a nice way to do it. But no, I say it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. I've really enjoyed doing this, and thank you for agreeing to come on.
Thank you for asking me.
No, that's my pleasure, mate. As I said all those hours ago, I will put a link to Al's channel below. If you're not aware of Al's YouTube channel, they'll be down there to go along and see what he's all about and give him some support. And that's it. Yeah. So all that remains for me to say is once again, massive thanks to Al for giving up his time this evening when we record this to do it. It's a very warm evening. I've been very lucky that I've been supplied drinks and during the course of this from the lovely Mrs. Bear popping in and out just to make sure that I'm not overheating in here as well. I'm sure we're both dying to go to the toilet as well because it's been that long. We did it in one sitting. That's it. But yeah, many thanks again, mate. It's been absolutely fantastic. There'll be another episode of Desert Island Games up soon, everybody. Thank you very much indeed for listening. we'll see you again very, very soon. But until then, this is the Retro Bear sweating in the gaming pantry, saying thanks very much indeed for your company. And I will talk to you again very, very soon. But until then, take care and bye for now. And a big thank you once again to Al.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye now.